Hi everybody, it's Championship Saturday here at the XL Energy Center with the surprise Greenway Raiders, the number 4 seed, continuing their dramatic march to the final, and they'll take on the tournament favorite St. Cloud Cathedral Crusaders this afternoon. Hi everybody, Patrick Lilia here in the booth here with Pete Wagner and Matt Harrington. Got a lot to chew on coming into this game, just adding to the legend of Greenway hockey history, along with St. Cloud Cathedral searching for their first title.
Hey Patrick, Pete Wagner joining you here as you mentioned. Thanks for having me here today. I'm stepping in for Nate Olson. He wanted to get a jump on the traffic. Can you imagine that? Or the traffic, if you will, the weather. Snowmageddon 6. I've been numbering them Snowmageddons. This is officially what we would determine as our 6th official winter weather event. So it should be a terrific day of hockey here today. You know, the darlings of the tournament have become Greenway. You know, we've heard the story. You know, you and I were kind of discussing things in the onset as we were kind of preparing here before the game. And one of the things that was standing out to me was in 2001, Greenway was the darling of the AA tournament in defeating the Eden Prairie Eagles in the quarterfinal round matchup led by Gino Geyer, his father Pat on the bench. I had done a video expose or a story on that with My Fox Hockey back in the day. We had players, Ryan Hawkins, Lee Smith. We had them in the studio. We had Pat Geyer, Gino Geyer, a couple of his players, talking us through the game as we built it out. It was really great stuff. And a decade later, they're on the verge of extinction, where they had to basically, you know, Dante Lawson's dad and Geyer had to knock on some doors, do some salesmanship to keep the game alive as the Greenway Raider program, and of course they have Nishwauk and Keewatin as a part of it too, as they have the 3 schools. Instead, the option would have been to merge with Grand Rapids, which, you know, in the Iron Range area, that's the irony is the rivalry couldn't be hotter. And it's the unthinkable, but when you get into these games, all the discussion in the post game was all about, you know, we're not just playing for our legion of fans in green and white that have showered the lower bowl here of the XL Energy Center, but we're playing for the entire Iron Range. We're playing for Rapids. We're playing for Eveleth, International Falls, Virginia, Mountain Iron Buell. We're playing for everybody. And so there's a lot of weight on their shoulders, but there's a lot of wind beneath their wings.
And, you know, certainly interesting to think about the new trophy being awarded for the first time this year, named the Eveleth Trophy. So certainly something to be said for that as well, should Greenway be able to pull this one out.
Well, the Eveleth Trophy, isn't that really astute point there, Patrick Lilly? I'll tell you what, this whole trophy thing, they're kind of making it traveling where it goes. I wonder if the kids each get the trophy as well. You know, like the cup, or are they going to – who knows if it'll come back in one piece. But Lord knows the cup has had a few dents to it, and they've had to kind of buffer those out, if you will. So we're a few minutes away. We usually start these games a little bit later. It says officially on the clock 12:08. I know the teams will be taking to the ice in the next couple of minutes. Then we'll start getting the starting lineups going for you. And, you know, when you look downstairs, the Cathedral side, if we're on the west side of the building where the Al Shaver press box is, the Grand Rapids Greenway section, Patrick, from corner to corner, pretty full in green and white. When you go across the dial over the other side behind the player benches here at the XL Energy Center, not as full. Obviously, St. Cloud Cathedral, not as big of a school, but it's Class A. But, hey, we're talking Greenway. We're talking they didn't think the town was this big. Anybody and everybody that's been a part of the program is now here to enjoy this moment.
Absolutely. It's just been a wonderful tournament. We saw Greenway was in that late game on Wednesday night against Delano, and they pretty much had, from where we're looking straight across, probably about 5 sections pretty much full of green. And, of course, that's only gotten bigger since Greenway has advanced in this tournament to this Saturday afternoon title game. As we flip things over, we haven't talked much about Cathedral yet. Certainly, even though they were the 2 seed, they had a loss to Model Medi, which contributed largely to them receiving that 2 seed. A lot of people think St. Cloud Cathedral was the best team coming into this tournament, and certainly they've shown since they've been here why people thought so highly of them. They put up 13 goals in their 2 games. Their big 3 of Smith, Perbix, and Savoy has been amazing. They've gotten phenomenal goaltending. They've looked like a machine, frankly, thus far in terms of their play, their abilities. They're deep. They've just done everything so well.
You know, Nate Warner has 3 goals on the tournament, 2 assists to go along with his 5 points to lead the way for this Cathedral team, and they've got plenty of depth. I think that's the thing that's going to be interesting, because when you go to the other side of the ledger and take a look at the Greenway Raiders, you know, everybody's saying you can't say enough about Dante Lawson and his ability. 7 points on the tournament, 3 goals, 4 assists. Meanwhile, Ben Tremblay has 4 points on the season, on the tournament season, with 3 goals. But it's not like they're without the depth either. They've got 7-4-3-2-2-2 all the way down into the midsection of the lineup. Meanwhile, over on the St. Cloud Cathedral point production, you know, I mean, it's just deep. When you score that many goals and you're able to play as many players as you do, you see less guys standing up straight on their legs, not as fatigued as the Raiders were beginning to look toward the end of that hockey game yesterday.
Absolutely. So we're going to have to see, of course, this magical run for Greenway. We're going to have to see what they still have left in the tank for this afternoon. You know, they're going to give it all they have. They're going to give it their best effort. But the question's going to be, at some point, can they keep it up one more time against a team that's basically plays the same style of hockey largely that Matamidi does, but perhaps many would say DeWood will even a little bit better.
On come the Crusaders of St. Cloud Cathedral, looking like Team Sweden in their yellow sweaters with blue trim.
The Raiders take the ice as well in their road greens with the white numbers and nameplates on the back, kind of a rarity, particularly in Class A.
Can you read those from up here?
That's a little bit too far away. I can kind of figure out a little bit if I stare long enough, which is hard because they're skating around in a circle.
But when they go straight up and down, it's better? Well, I mean, the press conference is really amazing. The energy and all the things that were following that discussion was quite. I don't want to quite say emotional, Patrick, but it had a lot of heart.
Definitely, and I think Greenway, there's a lot of emotion that they have come as far as they have, given where they were earlier in the season, given what they had to go through on and off the ice to get here. And they will play for the 1A title today. The teams have lined up. We'll throw it down for player introductions momentarily.
I also like to mention, for those of you that are not in the know, Matamidi goes to the big win, 7-3 over East Grand Forks, to capture third place earlier here this morning. Let's head downstairs now. Jim Carroll on the mic, my good friend and former roommate. Can you imagine that?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 75th Annual Minnesota State High School League Boys Hockey Tournament. Our Class A state title game features the champions of Section 7 with a record of 17-13, the Greenway Raiders, against the champions of Section 6 with a record of 26-4, the St. Cloud Cathedral Crusaders. Before we meet the teams, let's meet the Greenway cheerleaders. Michaela Stram, Lexi Zimmer, Iris Jensen, Erin Gustafson, Libby Vekic, and Emma Sutherland. Now let's meet the Raiders. Freshman forward number 2, Ezra Carlson. Sophomore forward number 3, Derek Davidson. Junior forward number 4, Mitchell Vekic. Junior defenseman number 6, Brock Trebojevic. Senior forward number 7, Tristan Birdsall. Junior forward number 8, Ben Tremblay. Senior defenseman number 10, Cameron Lance. Senior defenseman number 11, Aaron Elich. Junior defenseman number 12, Christian Miller. Senior forward number 13, Dante Lawson. Senior forward number 14, Stephen Ugrich. Sophomore defenseman number 15, Ty Donahue. Senior forward number 16, Logan Seeley. Junior forward number 17, Micah Jernander. Senior forward number 19, Nikolai Ryla. Senior forward number 20, Will Jurgensen. Sophomore forward number 22, Nick Miskovich. Senior forward number 23, Spencer Bonham. Junior goalie number 24, Logan Wright. And senior goalie number 30, Tyler Penny. The assistant coaches are Adam Johnson and Andy Surdich. Head coach is Grant Clafton, the Greenway Raiders. Now let's meet the Crusaders. Junior defenseman number 2, Reed Bogenholm. Sophomore forward number 3, Jacob Hirschfeld. Sophomore defenseman number 4, John Bell. Freshman forward number 5, Nolan Whitman. Sophomore forward number 6, Cullen Hiltner. Senior forward number 7, Nate Martin. Junior forward number 8, Nate Warner. Sophomore forward number 10, Marcus Yort. Junior forward number 11, Ethan Cumming. Senior defenseman number 13, Talon Lenzen. Junior defenseman number 15, CJ Zins. Senior forward number 17, Austin Howard. Junior forward number 20, Jack Smith. Senior defenseman number 21, Luke Schmidt. Sophomore forward number 22, Braden Balfonz. Junior forward number 27, Blake Perbix. Senior forward number 29, Jackson Savoy. Senior goalie number 30, Noah Amundsen. Senior defenseman number 32, Devin Diezo. And sophomore goalie number 35, Grant Martin. The assistant coaches are Tom Bruce and Ron Brown. Head coach is Derek Brown, the St. Cloud Cathedral Crusaders. Here are today's game officials. On the lines, Brent Johnson, Jeremy Wadby. Your referees are Jay Borman and Mike Elam. At this time, we ask you to please rise. Please remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
We welcome you back inside the Al Shaver press box here at the XL Energy Center. St. Cloud Cathedral, Greenway for the 1A final. Greenway searching for their 4th overall championship. Won a couple in the 1960s, most recently in 1992. They defeated Rosemount 6-1 in the final. That was back when it was Tier 1 and Tier 2. St. Cloud Cathedral, of course, searching for their first ever. Afternoon's game brought to you by thesportsmansguide.com. Brew Pub, Lots of Matza Pizza, RJM Construction, Tradition Companies, and Optimal Goalie also with us on board today. Thank you for sponsoring us this afternoon and all season. We got the starting lineups introduced here at the XL Energy Center. Number 4 seed Raiders, who defeated Delano 6-4 in a comeback win on Wednesday night. Defeated number 1 seed Matamita yesterday in dramatic overtime fashion. Ben Trombley tied the game with a power play goal with 1:48 to play. Won it in overtime just 23 seconds into the extra session. The goaltenders once again today will be Logan Wright for Greenway, Noah Amundsen for Cathedral. We're all set to be underway as Birdsall takes the face-off against Smith, controlled on the near side by St. Cloud Cathedral, played in deep by Reed Bogenholm, works all the way down into the Greenway zone, up into the corner. It's picked up by Trombley behind his net, swings it around to Dominic Raya on the near side. He'll send a long cross-ice pass. It'll work its way back out into the Crusader zone and end up an icing call. So Nikolai Rayala ices the puck right off the bat. And an offensive zone face-off for St. Cloud Cathedral coming, 16:43 to go in the first period. No score between Greenway and the Crusaders. Got the face-off brought around the net by Cameron Lance. Will try to clear it out. Not quite able to be held in on the back door by Bell. John Bell, though, turns around, brings it back into the offensive zone, swings it around, going Perbix on the near side. Perbix trying to center it. And then Warner tried to turn it around and shoot it in, but shot it wide as Greenway retakes possession, flips it back out into the neutral zone. St. Cloud Cathedral again sets up. Here's Bogenholm on the near side, gets knocked off the puck nicely as Birdsall able to dump it back in deep to the Crusaders zone for Greenway. As Bell plays it deep in his own zone for the Crusaders. He plays it around to the near side, works its way down to the near side once again as Warner able to work his way through a couple of Greenway players, get it out to neutral ice. Good defensive effort thus far for the Raiders as the puck on the far side boards in the Greenway zone as Warner has it poked away from him back down deep into the neutral zone, where once again picked up by Talon Lenzen. Lenzen will throw this one in deep. It'll work its way down into the near side corner, and looking to come out with this one is Smith. It'll be poked up into the corner, though. We're coming out with it is Aaron Ehrlich. Ehrlich, though, not quite able to clear. It's poked back down to the near side circle. Now banked out through the neutral zone over the stick of Lenzen, and will end up an icing call. We welcome Pete Wagner into the booth with us this afternoon. 15:27 to go in the first period. No score. Greenway and St. Cloud Cathedral.
Thank you very much, Patrick. You know, it's a clash almost of two styles in a way, where it's going to be the crafty rink rat pond hockey style of the Greenway Raiders and the structure of the St. Cloud Cathedral Crusaders.
Michael Jamander off the face-off for Greenway, able to play it around to the far side where Dante Lawson got tied up. The Crusaders able to come out with it. The centering feed for Ethan Cumming. A little bit out of his reach, and back from the Raiders through neutral ice, where it's poked back now the other way into the neutral zone. A nice job there by Cumming as Trombley tries to bring it into the neutral offensive zone rather, and he comes in offside. We'll have a neutral zone face-off. 2 minutes into the game, no score.
So far, one shot for St. Cloud Cathedral against none for Greenway, but you know, the dynamic duo of Lawson and Trombley is going to be a problem, but a really good stick there at the line by the defense of the St. Cloud Cathedral Crusaders. That was number 13, Talon Lenzen. Disrupts that zone entry, forces the faceoff.
A penalty called there was a hooking penalty.
Didn't even see that.
Yeah, I thought it was an offside call.
Me too.
as Lance controls the offensive zone face-off, thrown through the middle, and that'll go wide of the net, end up into the corner. Poking it back around, here's Lawson able to play it around to the near side, held in on the back door by the Raiders. Raiders trying to poke this one up to Trombley. He'll get it to Lawson. Lawson with a shot, he scores! Dante Lawson again! A power play goal, and Greenway has the lead 1-0. 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the game.
Well, they connect 25% of the time with the man advantage. Lawson takes the feed right off the sidewall. Terrific walk toward the goal. He goes short side right up over the glove hand. And, you know, of course, who else gets him the biscuit but Trombley. And then the lefty shot off the right side there. Patrick goes and juggles it over the top two corners. Straight sniz, as I like to say, on the snipe.
As the power play goal for Dante Lawson. That's his third of the tournament. He had the 2 goals in the comeback win on Wednesday night, including the empty netter to put it away. As we're going to think we might have a review here as the officials have been called over, and now we are actually going to be ready for
they
play.
look at every one. That one, you know, since it rattled around up top, worth looking at, making sure.
Absolutely. That's a good idea. You have the technology available at this tournament.
37th of the season, number 13, Dante Lawson. First assist to number 8, Ben Trombley. Second assist to number 10, Cameron Lance. Time of the goal, 2:20.
As Cathedral was looking for their answer, and immediately Smith drives into the offensive zone, rips a shot saved by Logan Wright. Offensive zone faceoff coming for St. Cloud Cathedral. 14-18 to go in the first period. 1-0 Greenway with the lead here early on in this Class A championship game.
You know, Patrick, if I could jump in here for a second. This is a time where, you know, you score early. You got to be careful not to get too giddy and not lose sight of what you're doing. And if you're St. Cloud Cathedral, they're going to have a good push here.
As Mitch Vekic for the Raiders able to dump it down deep into the Crusader zone, and here come the other direction. It's Cullen Hiltner. Hiltner into the offensive zone. He sends a cross-ice pass that'll end up on the far side boards as Vekic forces it back deeper into his own corner. Now he'll take it back from Christian Miller. Miller, who had the go-ahead goal on Wednesday night, as Vekic and Miller trying to team up to get it out of the zone, and now they got it ahead to Tristan Birdsall. Birdsall into the offensive zone. Birdsall will send a shot wide of the net down into the corner. It'll be held in on the back door by Miller. It'll be flipped around past Dominic Raiola. They tried to center it to Raiola as Raiola was pushed down, and the Crusaders able to come back the other direction. Ethan Cumming with a long shot from near the blue line that'll go wide of the net. Cumming will play it around the net, back around to the near side in the Raider zones. It comes down to the near side boards. The battle ensues down there as Miller trying to come out of it, and Jamander for the Raiders able to get it up to the far side boards. Held in on the back door by Luke Schmidt as he sends a shot well wide of the net. So coming back through the corner, Schmidt getting hit on the back door by Aaron Elledge. Come back out to the point. There's a long shot. It's loose out front. They score! Able to be redirected into the net. Oh, no.
Wow, the ref said no. The light went on. They continued to play.
They celebrated as
That
well. As Raiola able to bring it into the offensive zone. Raiola with a cross-ice pass to Trombley on the near side. They score!
No!
Dante Lawson!
Oh, no. This is utter chaos. So this could be a goal for Greenway, Patrick, that turns around to be a goal for... Okay, we got to sort this one out.
Just hold your breath, everybody. They're going to review.
If that wasn't a goal on the other end, that's proof there was no whistle on the ice. Okay, so now they're looking at the original goal. Hopefully we can get a look at this on replay.
That monitor's a little bit too far away to tell. Oh, that's
yeah.
bad. That's going to be.
So it's going to be a Cathedral goal. It's tied at 1.
My goodness.
And then they got to bring the clock back about a minute and a half. It was tough for the ref to see that close.
Yeah, that's the goal light did go on at the Cathedral end.
It did.
And I think the Cathedral players slowed up.
The entire play is
Yeah, that's kind of the best thing. The PA, Jim Carroll, says the entire play is under review, and that's about the best that you can put the description on that one. That is just a wild start to this game.
I have never seen that. Then Lawson nearly picked up his 4th of the tournament as that shot came in on goal, and it was on the return play. It's kind of meaningless because it's not going to be a goal, but Noah Amundsen tried to reach out. You know how the goaltenders reach kind of with the backhand over the chest and try to grab that puck? He swatted at it, didn't get a handle on it, and then Lawson gathered up the rebound. If you're Greenway, you say, you know what, we're going to be able to score goals here, so
yeah.
Okay. But the original goal came in, and it deflected in. It kind of hopped in off. I don't know what that hit on its way in, if it was a stick or not. The ref washed it off, said no goal. And they're looking at this for quite some time. I'm surprised that they are. The twine in the back clearly dented, so it's going to be a St. Cloud Cathedral goal. There's no way it's not. Now they're probably just talking about where the clock needs to go.
It was Bogenholm who took that long shot from the point. That should get credit for that one. And they have given St. Cloud Cathedral the goal. It's 1-1. 12:28 to go in this first period.
You know, be thrilled if you're St. Cloud Cathedral, and if I'm on that bench and I'm Coach Clapton, I'm saying, guys, this isn't coming our way. It's fine. You know, we're tied at 1. They had a goal that hopped off the ice into the shelf. We move on. But you guys just keep doing what you're doing. We know we can put the puck in the net here. Let's go.
Now, Schmidt did get his stick in front. I think he'll be the one who directed that one into the net.
And the goal will be disallowed for Greenway. Good goal for St. Cloud Cathedral.
Hard to even get upset about that one. And this is where the replay comes into play, Patrick, and makes a big difference. That's definitely in the net.
Absolutely. The St. Cloud Cathedral controls the face-off as Bogenholm pushes this one up ahead. Warner, though, has it taken away, and now Perbix able to take it away back. It works its way down into the offensive zone for St. Cloud Cathedral in the corner. Smith working his way free. Finds Warner out front, saved by Wright on the shot at point blank. As the Raiders able to break it back out to the neutral zone. Now awkwardly enter the neutral zone is Trombley. Trombley in the offensive zone in the corner, and now taken back by the Crusaders. Long cross-ice pass into the offensive zone. Here's Perbix. Perbix with a shot as he's that one saved by Wright as well. Centering feed knocked down out front by Greenway. It'll be played around by Cam Lance up to the far side boards. Able to be held in, though, by the Crusaders. Lance has to play this awkward bounce off the end boards as Perbix able to take it away. And promptly taken right back. And this one shot in on goal. Took an awkward bounce as it went on. I think deflected off one of the Greenway players' ankles. And the Raiders able to get it back out to neutral ice. They will dump it in and they will change. 11:43 to go in the first period. 1-1. Between St. Cloud Cathedral and Greenway, as now here's a messy exchange for the Crusaders in their own zone. And it's going to be taken away by Greenway. And have a player go to the ice and lose his stick as the Crusaders able to regain possession of it. They'll bring it into the offensive zone as Smith got tied up nicely by Miller. Works its way down to the near side corner in the Greenway zone. As now Miller able to play it back around to Vekic on the far side. Vekic gets it out to neutral ice where the Crusaders retake possession of it. There's Hiltner bringing it up the left wing side into the offensive zone where his cross-ice pass is intercepted by the Raiders and brought back into the offensive zone. Here's Vekic. Vekic's shot was blocked. And a good job there by Birdsall to keep possession for the Raiders as a turnaround shot goes wide. Played him back into the corner by the Raiders. Kicked back out to Miller at the point. Now this one flipped over Lance back out through neutral ice. Miller back to pick it up high in his own zone. Miller tried to slide it.
Fanned on that one.
Yeah, Miller fanned on it, tried to slide this one through neutral ice. It'll end up with Lance on the far side, deep in the Raider zone. If the Raiders able to flip it back out to neutral ice, and ends up with Bogenholm on the near side. Bogenholm bringing it into the offensive zone to Schmidt. Schmidt turns around and he loses control of the puck. Here comes Lawson into the offensive zone. Lawson, though, losing control as he tried to drive his way around John Bell. And the Crusaders send it all the way back down for an icing.
The St. Cloud Cathedral Crusaders want to push the tempo and the pace. They've been very quick once they get the puck in transition, tops of their circles all the way through the center ice area, and then they're putting a little bit of pressure. They're flowing and moving and taking the breakout away from Greenway. However, the Raiders are able to, once they get energy through the neutral zone, they're really dangerous on entry. When they get to entry, especially with Trombley and Lawson, they're able to work it either high or low and create all sorts of trouble. So it's a really good clash of styles between these teams, but you feel like when they get the tempo going that they want to, they, being St. Cloud Cathedral, that Greenway is a little bit uncomfortable, and I don't know if they're going to be able to keep that pace up throughout the entire hockey game. We'll take a quick 10-second timeout here from the Minnesota State High School League.
This is Tim Layton, Communications Director of the Minnesota State High School League and a 1982 graduate of Minneapolis Roosevelt High School. You are listening to the Minnesota State High School League State Tournament. We are the league. This is Tim Layton.
Welcome back inside the Al Shaver press box here at the XL Energy Center, along with Pete Wagner and Patrick Lilia. 10-10 to go here in the first period. It's a 1-1 tie game between Greenway and St. Cloud Cathedral. And a wild sequence featuring a missed goal on one end for St. Cloud Cathedral and then a goal at the Greenway end. Upon review, the goal awarded to St. Cloud Cathedral, thus wiping out the Greenway goal at the opposing end.
You know, it's something I've never seen in my years of hockey live. I've never seen that happen where one goal was disallowed or washed off on one end and then it goes the other way and there's a goal. That's unprecedented. Thank goodness for replay. That's where it makes a big difference. And here we go. 10-10 to go in this period. Coverage presented in part by Optimal Goalie, RJM Construction, Tradition Company, Sportsman's Guide, and Brewpub Pizza, and lots of matzo pizza.
As the Crusaders control their face-off in their own zone, but then Trombley intercepts the pass and then poked away as Lawson had snuck around to the near side of the goal. It's getting tied up behind the net now is Lawson. Jamander down there as well for Greenway. Bell in the mix there. We got 5 players battling for the puck on the end boards. It comes free into the slot area. There's a shot through traffic and then directed just wide out front. That was Trebojevic who took that shot for the Raiders, and now the Crusaders able to break out back the other way through the neutral zone with Smith into the offensive zone. Smith to Warner, and he has a shot that's saved by Wright and sent back out into the neutral zone where Lawson will slow things down a bit as he's got Warner all over him. I think given the way that Lawson has performed in this tournament, has a long shot by Trombley that's held onto it. Teams are really keying defenders in on Lawson a lot more than they had in the early part of the tournament.
Well, he's there, and you know he's there, and you have to deal with him. It's quite impressive, but really the zone entry that was made by Jack Smith when he found Miller off that shot from the high slot, that was like absolutely a parting of the Red Sea. I mean, the cleanest entry you could have, and the gap was not very good for the Raiders defense, but then back the other way. Greenway is very content in just loading it up and letting it rip from the blue line. They get sticks on pucks, and there's all sorts of deflections. And we're going to probably see a couple deflection goals or big saves from Noah Amundsen, who's going to be under a lot of siege with traffic and sticks. I think the key story to this thing is taking advantage of the TV timeouts for Grand Rapids Greenway, and then getting into the third period and not being gassed against this tempo that we're seeing from St. Cloud Cathedral, which feels a little uncomfortable right now as it is for Greenway. Let's see if they can. Did I say Grand Rapids Greenway? I did.
That is the girls' team.
I know, I'm doing too many girls' games. I did them too much. So for Greenway, sorry if I offended anybody there. I know I can see the cards and letters now. My apologies. But hey, we're all a family according to Clafton. They're playing for the entire Iron Range, so I could have said for Eveleth, Mountain Iron Buell, all of them.
There's Mr. Bart Archer hanging out in the press box behind us. Oh, he didn't want us to know. He didn't want everybody to know he's in here now. But too late.
The celebrity. High-fiving everybody on the way down the press box. Oh, yeah. Knuckle bumping.
As out the face-off, controlled in the offensive zone once again by the Raiders as it's poked up onto the far side corner. Turnaround shot. That had to be saved by Amundsen. Battle along the end boards for it now. As it's poked off the back of the net, comes around to the near side where the Crusaders trying to push this one ahead to Hiltner. Hiltner will gain his way into the offensive zone. Hiltner working his way up the left wing side. He gets it behind him, Jackson Savoy. Centering feed for Cumming, who bangs away at it, and that one was turned aside by Wright. As Miller picks it up for the Raiders, and he flips it out through the neutral zone all the way down as Mitch Vekic will get to it first. Vekic, though, has this one poked away from behind. We see Greenway, I think, here trying to pick up the tempo. They want to try to match this speed. I think that they know with the Crusaders playing as aggressively as they are, as this one drives in on Amundsen, he has to dive on it, that they're going to try to push the tempo and say, if you're going to pinch the defender in on their goaltender, we're going to try to race it back the other way and get some odd man rushes.
Well, that was a great opportunity out of the corner for Greenway's Birdsall as he took it, kind of lost his angle as he was getting pushed and went down and tried to shovel that one back through.
Without the face-off deep in the Crusaders' zone, Bell plays it around to the near side. It's still along the near side boards as the Crusaders able to get it out with Nate Martin. Cross-ice pass into the offensive zone. There's Jackson Savoy. Savoy, though, as his puck deflect up into the netting.
This game doesn't lack star power, does it?
No.
There's plenty of high-end players out here tonight. Or this afternoon, if you will.
Fairly early after, a little bit later than we did for the about 11:30, 1:30 for the weekday games, as Lance plays this one around off the face-off deep in the Raiders zone, then poked back up through the near side corner. Lance will pick it up on the end boards, trying to get it up ahead. It's out to neutral ice where Bogenholm slows it down for the Crusaders. Comes down to the near side. Now chip back deep into the Raiders zone where Lance will pick it up again behind his own net. Send it up to Lawson on the far side boards. Lawson works his way back into the middle, gets it down to Trombley on the near side.
Oh,
nice
nifty.
Cross-ice pass into the offensive zone come the Raiders. There's a shot by Jamander that's saved and held onto by Amundsen.
I'll tell you what, that was an absolute precision feed from the neutral zone, walking across his own line right past the Crusader stick on the tape. What a job by Greenway's number 6, Brock Trebojevic. I mean, that was something else. I mean, Gotti, he could have been off to the races the other way, but he put that on a rope.
The offensive zone face-off is pushed around the Crusader net. It comes around to the near side, then flipped back out to neutral. Nice job knocking that one down as it's played in deep by the Raiders, who would have been offside, so they have to touch up, and the Crusaders will play it deep from their own end. This pass for Smith at the blue line is intercepted and sent back in deep once again, where C.J. Zinn's back to pick it up for the Crusaders. His long pass to the blue line into the offensive zone, but coming in offside is Nate Warner.
You know, we've seen some of the biggest moments of drama in the Class A state championship games. You have the big comebacks. Hermantown couldn't seem to get that done as they were constantly getting stopped by the St. Thomas Academy Cadets or the Breck Mustangs. Then they break through. East Grand Forks comes down. They had a long absence. They come through and get it done. Here tonight, you've got St. Cloud Cathedral and Greenway getting it done in a terrific first period.
As Vekic able to force this one back into the Crusaders zone. Nice job by Riola. Riola's shot, though, couldn't get a lot on him as he got tied up. Riola now battling behind the net where Savoy will pick it up for the Crusaders. Off for Hiltner. Hiltner will skate his way up the right wing side into the offensive zone. Centering feed trying to get it to Bell, and Bell couldn't quite corral it. It's poked up into the corner. As Vekic able to take it back for the Raiders. Nice cross-ice pass for Riola. Riola into the offensive zone. He winds up, but his shot was blocked by Bell. It comes free out front, and a shot was saved by Amundsen as Vekic had worked his way to that loose puck. Vekic able to hold the zone on the back door. It'll play its way around the Crusader net back to the near side. Riola on the near side gets it back to the point, able to be held in by Miller. If the centering feed was blocked and knocked down out front, and the Crusaders able to flip it out all the way down, it'll go for an icing.
Couple of things going on there. First of all, you have the great chance, and Amundsen throws the blocker pad out, makes a save point blank there. But then the puck got rung around the wall, and you saw the entire Cathedral Crusader team stop. And then they watched, and they kind of looked like, where did it go? And then it rung all the way right onto a Greenway stick where they could maintain that possession. You know, this thing is a back-and-forth affair. I'd say right now that Greenway has had a little bit better of the possession time. Good chances, though, for the Crusaders.
As Perbix gets it off to Smith. Smith carries it into the offensive zone as he brings it around the net down to the near side boards where a battle ensues there. As Warner can't quite get the puck, battle win, and Trebojevic possesses it for the Raiders. An off for Birdsall. Birdsall, though, with this puck almost taken away from him into the offensive zone. Here's Lawson. Lawson working his way as he tried to center this one for Trebojevic on the back door, and it was sent back the other way. Rather, that was Birdsall who had worked his way into the crease as the Crusaders dump it in deep and change. 5:48 to go, first period, a 1-1 tie game as a stretch pass for that was Lawson at the blue line, goes for an icing and a face-off back in the Greenway zone.
Today's coverage presented in part by RJM Construction. Check them out at rjmconstruction.com. They've done some incredible stuff, from the Trier Rink, the Hopkins Pavilion remodel, and of course the great, beautiful three-quarter outdoor structure at the Rock at the St. Louis Park Rec Center. They do all your arena building and remodeling needs. Also presented by Sportsman's Guide. They had their big Beyond the Pond event today with Pat Micheletti, our good friend, and the entire crew there running the show, up to 60% off at the event. I'm sure if you need anything, you get your nose on in there still. South St. Paul off of Highway 3 or Concord and 494. Also presented by Brew Pub and lots of Matza Pizza. We're talking about a half pound of award-winning mozzarella cheese per pie. Get it at your local grocery or even convenience store. And also presented by Optimal Goalie with Larry Grace Jr., hooking him up with tons of people. He works with the goaltenders off ice, lets you have, as an organization, your on-ice trainers, but he takes care of the fitness part of it off ice, turns them into better athletes, the mental part and the diet. Helps goalies be goalies. Finally, Tradition Companies, find them at traditionco.com. They've got it all covered, from a capital bank to wealth management to the home builders from Homes by Tradition, Robert Thomas Homes, and of course the mortgage company. That's traditionco.com.
Offensive zone faceoff coming for the Crusaders. Stepping into the faceoff circle, it'll be Martin against Jamander as the faceoff still loose in the circle. Shot from the point ends up being taken by Bogenholm. That'll go wide as it's poked back through the corner. It'll be played back through by Lance. Beckich trying to get this one ahead, but able to be held in by Bell for the Crusaders. He'll try to poke it up toward the corner as the puck is loose, and Jamander picks it up for the Raiders. He'll get it out into the neutral zone along the the Raider bench. We've had the Raiders and the Crusaders.
That's tough to spit out, isn't it?
We've had the Green Wave and Greenway here at the same tournament. Of course, the Green Wave being East Grand Forks.
And I had Brodzinski and Brzezinski.
If the Crusaders able to dump it in deep from the neutral zone, they will change. Miller has it deep in his own corner. This one almost taken away by Jackson Savoy, and now able to be held in on the back door by Ethan Cummings. Savoy with a shot. That was saved by Wright. It'll be held in by Talon Lenzen. It'll work its way around the net. Wraparound attempt, and just fanning on that one was Colin Hiltner.
Net was wide open, Patrick.
Absolutely. Colin Hiltner missing a golden opportunity there as the Raiders able to get it back out to neutral ice. Lenzen trying to play it back the other way for Savoy. Savoy will dump it in deep. It'll be played again behind the Raider net as Miller rings it along the far side boards. The Raiders get it back out to neutral. Into the offensive zone comes Greenway with Lawson. Lawson with a shot saved by Amundsen as he turns around and tries to center it. I think he held up on it. It was a shot by Trombley, and that one, as they stop play, is...
Wow, lots going on there, Patrick. First on one end, there's a golden opportunity with a wide open net. The puck trickles through the right side of the cage as the goaltender, Logan Wright, was prone, couldn't pull the trigger. Then Lawson comes back the other way, kind of lost his angle as it flattened out, but right as he was starting to shoot, he was slashed. Let's see if they get that right on the elbow wrist. Yep, they got it right on the wrist. Ouch. And then he tried to gather it in and let her fly. And instead it's going to be a power play now for the Greenway Raiders.
CJ Zins for the slash. The Raiders already 1 of 1 on the power play. The power play goal by Dante Lawson that opened the scoring early in this game as the Raiders set up in their own zone. Now they carry it out to neutral ice, bringing it into the offensive zone. As the Crusaders able to get it clear, it'll go the length of the ice. 1:30 to go in the power play, 3:45 in the period, 1-1. St. Cloud Cathedral and Greenway here in the Class A title game. Into the offensive zone, back comes Ryala. Ryala getting headed off on the near side by Bogenholm as the puck works its way along the end boards. Now picked up by the Crusaders and almost able to spring Martin on the breakaway attempt. And then some kind of lackadaisical play. You got a turnover and a short-handed goal. It's Jack Smith out front.
Wow, a big shorty there for the Crusaders of St. Cloud Cathedral. Wright sets the puck up behind the net. You saw that right there, Patrick. Good call. Nate Warner finds that puck out front, and they bury as they could scramble to try to get back into position. Too little, too late.
It looked like Greenway kind of took their foot off the gas a bit. You could kind of see that Greenway player who was working his way down there following Warner toward where Wright was trying to play the puck, as it was pretty much taken right off of his stick. And Jackson Savoy was waiting for that centering feed, and he did not miss. It's 2-1, St. Cloud Cathedral, 3:20 to go in this first period.
Well, there was one player on his way back for Greenway. The rest were still kind of taking their time to get up high for the power play breakout. You know, oftentimes you don't expect pressure, and it was really essentially the Crusaders that got there first.
As the Raiders bring it back into the offensive zone on the near side and hanging out in the point. Here's Lance as he gets it to Trombley. Trombley working his way, gets it back to Lance. Lance with a shot through traffic, he scores! A power play goal for Cameron Lance, and the game is tied at 2.
Wow.
What kind of twists and turns have we seen in this first period?
We've seen them all, buddy. So is Lance, who was the guy on the way back that got beat, and then he comes back and he erases it with a second power play goal of the game for the Greenway Raiders.
We had the missed goal for St. Cloud Cathedral, a goal at the other end for Greenway. Upon review, the goal was given to St. Cloud Cathedral, goal taken away from Greenway. Now we have the shorthanded goal by Savoy, and on the same power play, Greenway able to answer and keep the game tied. And we have talked repeatedly throughout this tournament. Every time that Greenway has faced adversity, they have had an answer. It was 2-0 against Delano, 3-1, 4-3 in the third period, and they won that game.
They have. They've done it 3 days in a row.
As Vekic drives in for a shot on Amundsen, who makes the save.
I mean, you talk about answering to adversity. After they had that goal, that was a goal, washed off, they came right back and responded to that.
And, of course, yesterday with 1:48 to play, they were trailing, and Ben Trombley single-handedly got them to this afternoon.
They gave it to Lance, saying it got all the way through clean. Lawson was there for a redirect, didn't get a stick on that. So it's Lance with the goal officially for Greenway.
With Miller able to dump this one back down deep into the Crusader zone. It's picked up by Bell behind his own net. Bell trying to spring Bogan home on the near side, rather Jacob Hirschfeld as he tries to center this one, and that was just out of the reach of Smith. Perbix with a shot. That went in on the goal on a bad angle, and that's held on to by Wright.
A wild hockey game here. 4 goals in the first period with 2:28 remaining in it. Shots on goal are 9-8 in favor of the Greenway Raiders over St. Cloud Cathedral. But wow, Patrick, the explosiveness of Cathedral's a problem. You know, they're just big and strong, and that's something that the Greenway Raiders are trying to deal with here.
Absolutely, and so far they've done a good job of using the aggressiveness against them. Here's Trombley into the offensive zone. Trombley wraparound attempt. That one might have hit the side of the post. But they will be played back through the corner toward Lawson. Lawson will come out with it. He'll get it back to Miller at the point. Miller trying to play this one back around the net where it's picked up by the Crusaders there. That's Lenzen able to push this one into the neutral zone and then dump back in by the Raiders. Or Zins will pick it up behind his own net. He'll play it off the near side boards. It's turned over. Lawson got it on a stick. Trombley backhand shot saved by Amundsen. What chemistry do those two players have, Pete? Wow.
You know, when you turn it over to Lawson to Trombley back to Lawson, you got a problem. And that's exactly what happened. And it was Trombley who tried to force through the backhand there. But, you know, they're so subtle with their forecheck. And, you know, in Trombley, you got such a quality D1 level player there. And, you know, we've all been talking up and down about, you know, Lawson not being hooked up anywhere. We can't believe that when you look at his ability. This kid can play. He could play for me any day, buddy.
Absolutely. As the offensive zone face-off deep in the Crusader zone. Once again, here's Hiltner trying to dump it into the neutral zone. He'll get it for Ethan Cumming. Cumming will take a shot that's saved with Wright. He has it pop free, but he's able to snag it quickly with his glove out of the air. We'll have an offensive zone face-off for the Crusaders. 1:27 to go in the first period. 2-2 tie game.
We've had a really nice hockey game. When you take a look at how these two teams got here, it was Cathedral shutting out North Branch 7-0 in the quarterfinals, 6-2 win over East Grand Forks. Here they are now. And for Greenway, it was a 6-4 win over Delano. and a 3-2 overtime win over Mahtomedi. Not an easy route for them.
As Trombley gets it behind his own net, Miller with it now on the near side. Rather, that's Lance, my apologies. Here comes Lance, stick handling his way into the neutral zone. He tried to get it ahead for Riola. Back the other way come the Crusaders into the offensive zone. A good job by Miller to play this one around before he took a big hit, but it's taken away by Luke Schmidt as Schmidt plays it around to the near side boards. Under a minute to go in this first period as it's sent back out to neutral ice. Riola pushes it ahead into the Crusader zone. Works way down into the corner. Bogenholm trying to get this one ahead for the Crusaders, but it ends up being played back behind the net by Hiltner. As the Crusaders now bring it back around to the near side. It's a pass off the near side boards back out at neutral, now dumped in deep by the Raiders. 35 seconds to go in the period. Bell collects it behind his own net for St. Cloud Cathedral as he gets it off to the far side corner. Now flip back out to neutral where it'd be slowed down by Ellich, and then it's sent back deep into the zone as bit of a penalty coming.
Third penalty of the game against Cathedral.
I think that's been a problem. We had those 2 power play goals already for the Raiders, and they're going to go on another one as they have that tripping call there. There might be a slash there. Didn't even need to do that as that was deep in the...
So the crowd doesn't like it because it was a slash to the hip. And as he was turning on his left, Greenway's Christian Miller, he looks like he kind of lost an edge. I don't know if he was guided by that slash, and the crowd wasn't sure either.
There's Lance with it in the offensive zone. Here's Trombley now on the near side. Gets it back to Lance up high. Lance back to Trombley. Trombley working his way, gets it down to Lawson in the corner. Lawson, though, with this one taken away nicely by Zins as it's rung around, and will bring us to the end of the first period. And oh my, just so much to digest from that first period that could really spend an entire intermission talking about it.
I know. Well, there's a lot of layers to this, Patrick. I mean, there's plenty to look at with these two teams, and the power play has been the story, I'd say, for Greenway. They have, except for that last penalty, which is in a little bit, but they've put Cathedral in a couple of positions where they were caught, and they've taken some penalties. It's not like they were dumb penalties, and they've been battling each other. So, I mean, from the perspective of what we're seeing here, this thing is going to be wild all the way to the finish.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to have more high school hockey action coming up for you in exactly 15 minutes.
This is Tim Layton, Communications Director of the Minnesota State High School League and a 1982 graduate of Minneapolis Roosevelt High School. You are listening to the Minnesota State High School League State Tournament. We are the league.
High school hockey continues right here at the MNHockey.tv. It's a state tournament at its finest, and we're happy to bring in the architect, one of the guys that has a lot to do with putting this together. Brad Berrickman is the Vice President of Community with RJM Construction out of Golden Valley, and they've done a lot of these beautiful structures that we see that our kids get to play in, that we get to participate in as adults and play the great game of hockey. And Brad and his company are also partners with the Herb Brooks Foundation, which is a big reason why we're here today. So, Brad, without further ado, thanks a lot for joining us here between periods.
Happy to be here, Pete.
So I love this topic because I was intimately involved in a specific build-out of a building at the Hopkins Pavilion. I've utilized the rock at the St. Louis Park Rec Center. Those are two of your more recent jobs that I've been a part of, and you guys continue to churn them out. Can you tell us a little bit about how your firm got involved in the hockey arena space?
So it really started with the founders of the business, Bob Josart and Joe Maddie. And the very first ice arena project that we ever did down in Phoenix, Arizona, as well as Plymouth, Minnesota. We kind of got that niche on those first two projects, and then gained a knowledge base there that expanded here today.
What have you found in terms of municipalities, whether it's cities, not many privately owned rinks here? As far as their needs and what they need, obviously there's a budget constraint, but you have to make money too to keep your doors open. How have you been able to work with the municipalities, and have you found that to be an easy process?
It's definitely an easy process, and what we've found over the years is they're building facilities that are 50-plus year facilities. So they're really building for the longevity and the operational efficiency. really enjoy working with the cities and building them something that will last into the future.
Can we talk a little bit structurally about the rock? Do you care if we go there for a second?
I wasn't directly.
Okay, we'll not use that. Let me pause for a second so I can see the break. Let me see something here. Are these her notes for you or
Yeah.
not? Can I see those real
Yeah.
quick? I should have printed them out.
I wasn't.
We're cool. So in terms of what you guys do to put together projects, there's a lot of details that go into play. I mean, it goes from refrigeration to structures to, I'm sure there's a lot of code that you got to meet as far as what has to be done. How deep into this do you have to go as an organization to make sure everything is right as you build?
So our experience, like I say, our refrigeration partners can build ice anywhere. Our job is to give them a building envelope that basically encapsulates that whole thing. Important factors, I think, goes without saying, the insulation of the structure itself. So we work with our design partners to come up with the most efficient insulation systems to house these ice boxes, as well as dehumidification units is one of the more critical components within the facility as well.
Do you find are there different needs in the dehumidification from facility to facility? Some are renovations, and some are build-outs. What I think, to me, just being a novice, that would be a heck of a challenge, especially with our summers.
For sure. I mean, when you're dealing with an existing building structure, you have to take that into account. Building envelopes constructed in the 60s and 70s didn't have the technology that we have out there today. So you can really run into condensation issues and things like that if the building envelope isn't technically up to code.
So when you guys take on a project, it's usually probably a bid. I'm sure that's how it works in the industry, correct?
Typically when we're working with the municipalities, we act as the construction manager. So we're involved in the process from basically the onset. We work along with our design partners, and I say that the clients get their best value with the involvement of a builder such as RJM Construction early on during the design, to have our input on cost and technology side up front during the design. I guess over time, with our involvement during the pre-construction, you can save significant amount of money during the design.
Let's talk a little bit about the Trier rink that you guys worked on. I mean, it's an incredible vibe in there. Now, when you did that, did you start on the roof, or was that in the building? Can you kind of walk us through that project?
So there was interior demolition that occurred early on, but they basically built the rink facility on top of that parking structure. One of the cooler features of that project was we actually had to lift a crane on top of the roof with another crane to start erecting that facility. So that was pretty incredible means and methods, something we're really proud of.
How delicate was that? I mean, so not only are you lifting a crane with the crane, but you're on top of the demo with the crane, and you don't want to see the structure come down.
A lot of engineering involved, and a lot of pre-planning meetings and coordination with the city to block off the streets and things like that.
So then you've got the big window that is on what I believe is that kind of the southwest side of the building, something like that. And there's the tinted glass that can be controlled. Was that something that you guys were a part of? And if so, how did that all come about?
So we were involved in the pricing aspect of that during the design. Value is always at the forefront during the design and engineering, and we were definitely involved in cost solutions for that.
The locker rooms that you did at the Hopkins Pavilion, the greatest part about that project was every high school team that went in there just hated going in there because you could fit about 3 guys per room. They're so small. And then they're just massive. You could almost fit a varsity and JV team in some of those new locker rooms. Is that kind of a trend that you guys are seeing, is to get more space for locker rooms for everybody?
So there is a lot of thought put into the size of the locker rooms. As a hockey parent myself, I understand what it's like to get your kids dressed. I have a first-year mite in some of the tiny locker rooms in some of the older facilities. So that's definitely front and center of my mind, as well as our design partners.
And then in terms of other things that you're seeing, so if there were structures that were built, let's say, when I think of like the larger facilities that were maybe built in the mid-'90s and how they've evolved to today and how things have changed, has there been a going trend that you've noticed as far as some of the upgrades and features that you guys are putting into rinks right now today?
Definitely on the refrigeration systems and just the building envelope technology that's out there today. Is significantly better than it was 25 years ago. So there's a lot of thought and consideration that goes into the building envelope that houses these facilities. And another common trend that I'm seeing, a lot of the facilities that we built the initial sheet of ice for, they're adding second sheets. And it seems like some of the larger communities are all starting to add second sheets of ice and finding that benefit in their programming.
2 more questions for you here as we're rolling through the period break. To me, I would call it 3/4 outdoor rink. It's like a 3/4 indoor rink. The covered rink kind of was a trend for a little bit there. And you guys were able to really get something quite creative and look and feel for the St. Louis Park Rec Center. Can you talk about the processing that went into that and what you guys were thinking as far as vibe you were trying to pull off there?
So that was kind of I guess what I would call a centerpiece or a focal point of that facility. Something that captures kind of the old school hockey feel with the wood purlins and some of the older arenas, but yet something that's kind of nostalgic in the new outdoor games that you see in the NHL and college hockey as well. So trying to capture that all into one piece.
It's incredibly well done, and what it lends to is some really incredible acoustics, too. So when you watch a game, you get some really good sounds out of that. It's super cool. But the first thing, it's funny you say that I thought of, when I look at that roof in that building, I think of the old Minnetonka Ice Arena where they painted it up. It's too bad. But do you remember that when it was all wood?
I do. I played in that as a peewee. Growing up in a hockey tournament, and that's the first thing that I thought of when I saw that completed as well.
So it wasn't just me.
No.
Yeah, that's really good. And finally, as Vice President of Community, obviously the Herb Brooks Foundation is a terrific vehicle that everybody is well aware of. That's really keeping the game flowing alive and creating opportunities for everybody to be able to play the game. Can you talk about your relationship with Herb Brooks Foundation?
We are very proud to be a part of the Herb Brooks Foundation. Have been for all the time that I've been here at RJM, and definitely proud to be a part of that.
Brad, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Pete.
We'll be back with more right after this. We're between periods on our Minnesota high school hockey coverage and are pleased to be joined by Tradition Capital Bank's Scott Boyning. Scott's the market president for Tradition Capital Bank, and Scott, you got quite the thing going on here. Can you kind of give us an overview on Tradition Capital Bank? What is it? How many employees, future offices, or what you have for offices and future growth?
Sure. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for the opportunity. Tradition Capital Bank was a de novo bank in July of 2005. Today, 13 years later, we're about $700 million in assets, so a nice-sized bank. Main locations in Edina, Minnesota. We have a full-service bank in North Oaks, and possibly going to the West Metro in 2019.
Oh, really? Can you give us any nibbles of what you're thinking? Or
just growing the franchise. We've got a lot of clients and referral partners out in that area, so that way we'll be able to service the entire Twin Cities Metro.
Boy, that's fantastic. So you'll have all angles covered there. From your bank, I personally bank with you.
Thank you.
And I love it. It's very efficient, very impressive. The staff is great, and all of the services are fantastic for me from a business perspective. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes your bank unique?
Yeah, we really focus on the relationship banking model, which is really getting to know our clients. So we're more positioned as a private bank, which means a lot of different things to different people, but really what we're focused on is larger relationships, less customers, more service. Kind of the old school way of doing banking. We sit down, meet with an individual, talk about themselves and their business and how we can help them. If it's over a cup of coffee or if it's at the bank or at their business, it's the face-to-face handshake type relationships we have. That I think in this day and age in banking kind of sets you apart with some of the big guys.
The big out-of-the-box chain type banks we've seen. But the other thing is how much has that, do you think, contributed to
your future growth out to the west, and also your $750 million in assets, that type of strategy. How much has that played into it?
It's a very important part of our strategy. We're 99% referral based, so great clients like you telling other people that's the best way for us to grow. We've been organic growth from day one, hiring good people and taking care of our clients, and that's how we continue to kind of see our growth going forward.
Now, we know the economy has been soaring and the stock markets have been incredible, and it's been, for a lot of people, a good year. How has the year been for Tradition Capital Bank?
It's been another strong year. We've had about organically about $100 million of growth year over year for the last 4 years, and a lot of that is attributed to the overall economy in the Twin Cities and Minnesota market and the real estate market. Obviously, lately rates have gone up a little bit, but we still feel there's a lot of strong growth in the new housing, new construction area going into next year. But we also, we're getting larger as a bank, are getting more diversified. So seeing businesses grow, need for capital, and with rates going up, we're also paying a little bit more on deposit rates, which correspondingly kind of can help or hurt your margin depending on how you're doing.
In terms of, we kind of touched on a little bit about word of mouth and your relationships and those kinds of things, but what is one of the things that you do to, beyond that, to compete with the larger big name banks that you see the signs everywhere?
Yeah, for us, it's try to make banking simple and quick turnaround. We're locally owned and operated, so we make decisions here locally really quickly. Term sheets usually within 24 hours for a loan. Deposit accounts we can set up very efficiently, very fast. Technology is a game changer. I think that's the great equalizer in banking going forward. So we continue to invest in technology to help make it easier for our clients and their businesses to do business with us.
Now, we do know that technology is part of everything, and there are some tools out there that people employ in every aspect of business. What have you done on the banking side of things to utilize that?
For us, it continues to be, I think, paramount is the security side, and we continue to make investments in security. You're seeing a lot of fraud, cybersecurity, things like that in the news. And then mobile apps, continuing to make our mobile app the best we can to make it easy, taking a picture of your check to make a deposit so you don't have to come in, moving money. We're also researching additional ways for people to be able to move money easier.
Yeah.
You've heard of Zelle and different things like that. I think you're going to continue to see that. Fintech's a big word these days, but more innovations in technology will help banks like us compete with the bigger banks. Because if you can combine the relationship plus the technology, that's really tough to beat, I think. So, kind of be a fast follower, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? You don't need to invent the wheel, you just need to modify it.
Exactly. And that's, banks of our size, I think that's kind of the golden rule going forward is make sure you have the products and services, but combine that with the true relationship banking model.
Any last words you have for our listeners?
We'd love to help you. We're here in Edina and North Oaks. If you're looking for a locally owned, operated bank, we'd love to take the time to meet for coffee and see how we can help you.
I second that motion. Make the call. That's Scott Boyning. He's the market president from Tradition Capital Bank. And once again, they're a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This is Annie Schlepper-Span of the U.S. Women's Olympic Hockey Team and a 2008 graduate of St. Cloud Cathedral High School. You are listening to the Minnesota State High School League State Tournament. We are the league. This is Annie.
Taking it all in, kind of writing some articles. They kind of got the easy job. No, they don't. They certainly they put a lot of really
yeah.
Great
They've got the real easy job, don't they?
They're in the middle of a TV timeout here, and certainly Greenway has again as they haven't equalized the game yet. But we talked about the anthem.
Keep going.
We talked about the answers, and they have really just had an answer once again. We'll have an offensive zone faceoff coming for Greenway here. 5-minute mark here of the second period. 3-2, St. Cloud Cathedral leading it here. The Birdsall will take the faceoff against Savoy. It's controlled by the Raiders as it's pushed up into the corner where Zins has it for the Crusaders. It'll be held in again by Trombley at the blue line as it'll work its way around the net. Lawson takes a big hit behind the net. Picked back out to the point, unable to be held in by the Raiders as Lance has it. Delayed penalty coming against St. Cloud Cathedral. Extra attacker is on as the pass will be touched up on the near side boards by the Crusaders, and the prolific power play for the Greenway Raiders will get another crack at it with 11:39 to go here in the second period.
Indeed it will. And, you know, Patrick, you talked about the answer there on the break, and they've had some really good answers. Ooh, a nice little hit there on Ryla.
It's Talon Lenzen who, the way the crowd is responding, I think it's going to be a major, Pete.
Oh, my goodness. Well, when you look at Clafton on the bench, he is like up and down stoked. Yeah, the fin goes right up on the board. Oh, my word. But, hey, the shorty, you know, Dustin Brown's club has been really good on the shorties.
5-minute major for boarding. Or Talon Lenzen, so a 5-minute power play for the Raiders here. You have to be careful, of course, because we've seen a bunch of good shorthanded looks for the Crusaders here on the afternoon so far. 11:20 to go, second period. 3-2.
We've seen a little of both, too. We've seen a deadly power play as well, so it goes both ways here.
Absolutely. It's been kind of a double-edged sword, if you want to look at it that way, as the Raiders set up. Cam Lance carries it through, sends a pass down to Vekic on the near side. Vekic in the offensive zone will play it around to Lawson on the far side up in the corner as Bogenholm ties that one up, but the Raiders able to come out of that one with the puck. Back to Lance up high. Back to Trombley. Lawson, as they tried to feed it down to Ryla on the near side. Ryla circling, he'll play it back behind the net. Lawson behind his net looking to set up.
Very Gretzky-like.
Back to Trombley. Trombley near the circle. Get it back to Lawson. Lawson with a turnaround shot, and that was saved by Amundsen. The rebound works its way up into the corner, and will be cleared the length of the ice by the Crusaders.
Boy, Lawson caught that puck and just let it rip immediately. I mean, it was barely on his stick, and he tried to go upstairs with it.
The Raiders break out of their own zone. This one bounces past Trombley off the pass off the board. It'll be another full-length clear in favor of the Raiders.
3.5 to go in the power play, the major penalty on St. Cloud Cathedral, and really your goal with these is to get one and then go from there. You can't put too much pressure on yourselves in this situation or 5-on-3s.
As the Crusaders able to clear it the length of the ice once again. 9:48 to go, second period. 3:08 to go in the major penalty to Talon Lenzen as he boarded Nikolai Ryla on the end wall on the left end of the ice. And the Crusaders able to, again, keep this one back out at neutral ice. The Raiders will have to reset in their own zone once again. Into the offensive zone. It's Ezra Carlson, who plays this one around the net. Birdsall in the near side corner with it. Birdsall gets it back to Miller. Miller sends it up high to Carlson. Now back to the point. There's Miller winding up for a shot through traffic that was deflected wide. Birdsall on the follow-up. That shot was blocked as well. Ends up down in the near side corner. Birdsall fights this one up. Bell will play this one around and be unable to be held in. The Karam, though, almost ended up a chance the other direction for Nate Warner. It's now once again another full-length clear for the Crusaders. 2:10 to go in the 5-minute major power play.
The Crusaders packing in their box. They're giving the defensemen all sorts of room to operate up high. They're not worried about the long shots. They're worried about what the talent down low can do for this Greenway Raider team.
Lawson into the offensive zone. He'll play it off the end boards. It'll work its way back to the point, and Miller in front of the Greenway bench. Lawson with it in the circles. He tried to center it down low for Vekic, and it'll deflect in on Amundsen, who will put the glove on top of it.
Now 1:46 to go in the man advantage for the Greenway Raiders. Meanwhile, St. Cloud Cathedral doing a nice job on the kill.
8:24 to go, just past the midpoint of the second period and this game. It's the regulation point of the game if you want to start thinking about how things have gone thus far.
The extra session.
It's Lance with a shot through traffic, and Lawson just unable to catch up with it on the redirect. Greenway again able to hold the zone. Here's Lance on to Riola and on the near side circle. Banks it off toward Lawson behind the net as it's rung around by the Crusaders, who end up back out at neutral and work its way all the way down once again for a full-length clear.
Big clear there for the Cathedral Crusaders.
As Lance has to play it back the other way as Perbix had snuck up behind him for the Crusaders, and now it almost taken away behind the net. But the Raiders able to poke this one back as there's Riola. He'll work his way through the middle of the ice into the neutral zone. Lawson winds up for a shot, and that was blocked. As Zinn's got in front of that one as it's loose now behind the net. The Crusaders pick it up there.
Nice battle.
They tried to spring Warner once again coming through the neutral zone. That one will go out of his reach, but Warner will get it behind the Raider net. And these Greenway players have worked a long shift. They're tired. They don't seem quite as apt to keep up with these Crusader players driving them the length of the ice. And back into the offensive zone come the Raiders. Here's Trombley. 35 seconds to go in the power play.
Nice stick by Lance to keep it at the line.
Trombley able to push it ahead to Lawson as they tried to center it for Vekic. It went off his stick off the end boards. Now back out to Lance at the point. Lance, Trombley down low for Lawson. Lawson, though, forced to drive it back up into the corner. Kick it back out to Lance. For a shot is Riola, and he sent a shot that was blocked and cleared one more time. And that should do it as the Crusaders kill off the 5-minute major.
Yeah, they're going to dodge the bullet here.
The Raiders set up behind their own net as the power play officially comes to an end. And the 5-minute major results in no damage done for St. Cloud Cathedral. The Crusaders punch one in offside and will have a face-off after the TV timeout. 6:33 to go here in the second period.
Well, Lenson steps on for St. Cloud Cathedral, a big kill on the major penalty. Some good chances there by Greenway as they started working it low. And Lawson had a couple of opportunities, and when they did, it was Amundsen to make the save and shut the door for them there. I'd like to remind you that today's coverage is presented in part by RJM Construction. Check them out for your arena remodel and construction, building from scratch, all the needs you need right there under one roof, rjmconstruction.com. Also, from the Sportsman's Guide in South St. Paul, Minnesota, 400,000 square foot warehouse facility that you can take advantage of. They'll pick and pull for you. You can purchase everything you would online right there locally in the store. Brewpub Pizza, which is, of course, the big makers of lots of matzah. We talk a lot about that half pound of award-winning Wisconsin mozzarella cheese. You can go ahead and get that at your local store, your local convenience store, if you will. Optimal Goalie with Larry Grace Jr., making goaltenders better, both on and off the ice. He's as good as it gets there. And, of course, Tradition Companies. You can find them at traditionco.com.
Expect a lot of you who probably don't want to go anywhere tonight. Grab a lots of matzah as you tune us in for that AA title game with Pete and Bart tonight. Fire up a couple of those awesome bad boys, those half pound of mozzarella, Wisconsin award-winning cheese. They also,
I know you will.
There was also a tripping penalty on Trombley called at the end of that last sequence. So
oftentimes you see that. You get the 5-on-3 or the major, suddenly you're going back the other way and you're going to be playing the box in the defensive zone.
Zinn's with a shot through traffic that's held onto by Wright.
Big power play here for the Crusaders of St. Cloud Cathedral. They're going to want to be able to make some create some distance. There's never been anything more than a 1-goal lead for either one of these two teams, so they're going to want to get to work.
Face-off will be to the left of right here in the right side zone if you're looking at your device, with the Crusaders going from left to right. Greenway going from the right end to the left end as the Crusaders possess deep in their own zone as we pass the 11-minute mark here of the second period. 3-2, St. Cloud Cathedral leading. Into the offensive zone, here's Martin. Martin with it for the Crusaders. As this centering feed sneaks through everybody up to the far side boards. Bell able to hold it in. Get back to Warner. Smith with it on the near side as he gets it to Perbix. And the centering feed for Martin is swept out by the Raiders and sent all the way down. Minute to go in the power play now for St. Cloud Cathedral. 5:28 to go in the, rather I should say a minute in the power play. 5:23 in the period. My apologies. 3-2. The Crusaders leading the Greenway Raiders here in the Class A title game. The near side boards into the offensive zone. Again come the Crusaders. It's Perbix battling his way through. Perbix will try to work his way around the net, but he got knocked off the net nicely by Cam Lance. And Lance will end up with the puck on the far side circle as he'll bring it out into the neutral zone. Tried to get it to Lawson on the near side. Was intercepted and then sent in offside by Reed Bogenhol.
4:58 to go here in the second period. 26 on the power play for St. Cloud Cathedral as Greenway looks to kill this one off. 19-18 your shots on goal. About as close as those shots would indicate. It's a clash of styles, though. I mean, there's just the strength and depth of St. Cloud Cathedral. They've got their big line, though. Everybody does at the high school hockey level. Greenway's got their big line. We'll see what this thing does as we bring this down to the waning moments of the second period.
The Raiders push the face-off again back deep into their own zone as it's played off the boards up in that corner. Savoy battling down there as Trebojevic able to not quite clear it out. It's held in on the back door by the Crusaders. Now the Greenway Raiders able to clear it back out to neutral ice. Zins was trying to send it back the other direction. Vekic able to dump it into the St. Cloud Cathedral zone as the power play comes to an end.
Trombley stays out.
A shot sneaking in from the right there, from the far side circle. End up in on goal from Colin Hiltner, and will have an offensive zone face-off after the TV timeout.
This is Twins broadcaster Dick Bramer and a 1974 graduate of Staples High School. You're listening to the Minnesota State High School League State Tournament. We are the league.
The Minnesota State High School League, of course, in their 75th anniversary, celebrating the Boys State High School Hockey Tournament. That's incredible stuff. 25 years on the girls' side, and when you think about the memories that have been made for all of us, I mean, either you played on a team, you have a neighbor that did, your classmates did, or someone was in the band. Everybody is one way or the other touched by these tournaments, whether they be football, basketball, hockey. And the tournament season is not over yet. We've got 2 more to come up. I think the girls' basketball are next weekend.
The boys are the weekend after that, if I recall correctly. So,
and then on to the spring season we go, if we ever get one.
Yeah, we might be waiting a little while for that one. Well, you and I have been talking about state baseball this week with John, and that coming up in early June, and that sure seems like a whole world away right now.
It does. And, that state baseball tournament's a lot of fun. They play at some great venues, and there's some really good baseball, and they put it in play, buddy.
We're waiting for the teams to break the TV timeout huddles. 4:24 to go in the second period. St. Cloud Cathedral 3 and Greenway 2. An offensive zone face-off for the Crusaders. It'll be to the right of the goaltender, Logan Wright. It's loose in the circle still. Now poked up into the corner. Perbix comes out with it. It's Warner on the one-time shot saved by Wright. As Lawson in the neutral zone trying to get this one down in deep. It'll be sent back into the neutral zone by the Crusaders. And Jack Smith will get to it. Smith, let's see what he and Perbix can do, and then that splits the difference between Perbix and Warner, working their way through the middle. Yes, Trombley now with it for the Raiders as he looks to reverse direction. He'll send it out through neutral ice, trying to get it to Lawson. It'll bounce its way up onto the far side boards in front of the benches. As now We picked up by Eilich. Eilich will bring it into the offensive zone. What a good hit on, but now sent back the other direction into the neutral zone. Here's Perbix with it. Perbix trying to find Smith, and rather that's Warner. And just getting tied up at the last second was Warner as he was streaking in front of the goaltender right.
Hustling back check there. Beautiful job by Trombley as he kept his feet moving, got between the puck and the skater there and turns it aside. Then they quickly get it, turn it up ice for Lawson, who had an opportunity, but that was shut down by Amundsen.
Offensive zone faceoff coming for the Raiders now with 3:23 to go in the second period. 20-19 in shots on goal in favor of St. Cloud Cathedral. This game they lead by one shot, if you look at it that way, 3-2. As Finn slips and falls as they try to get it through the corner in the wraparound by Ryla, and I don't think I've ever seen a net fall down like that before. It fell down on Amundsen.
Those things are heavy, and as a goaltender, that is the last thing you want to have happen. He did a nice job. He kind of got the net literally tipped right on him. It doesn't feel good, believe you me. And he did a nice job of kind of curling up in a ball and didn't let it take him out. Unbelievable.
Oh, my. We've seen a lot of interesting things in this game, Pete. Definitely we saw as back to live action now as Vekic forces this one through the corner. It'll end up on the end board. Jamander trying to center it, but only found a sea of yellow. That was a good job getting bodies out front by the Crusaders.
Penalty coming up. Jernander is going to go.
Coming here against the Greenway Raiders and Michael Jamander. So another power play coming up for the Crusaders. With 3:01 to go in the second period. The Greenway fans don't like that one at all. I think they think Smith kind of dove on that, whether that was Savoy who was hooked. I think they think he might have embellished that one a little bit. As the Crusaders control the offensive zone face-off on the near side boards. Savoy working his way in. He gets it to Schmidt behind the net. Schmidt working his way through. Schmidt went after a blast, and Warner's shot out front was blocked and knocked down. This is kicked back up to the point. Here's Warner will play it up into the corner for Savoy. Savoy gets it back out. Warner up high. There's Smith down low with it. Smith will get it back up to the top. Centering feed out front. Here's Smith. He scores! Power play goal for Jack Smith. It's 4-2 St. Cloud Cathedral.
Well, there was Smith right off the doorstep on the back door. Receives that puck and lets a quick wrister go. Took a nice pass from the top of the slot area. It went from low to high to low again. And he just leaned into it. I mean, he put everything he had into it and went shelf, and Wright had no chance. But it all started back off the end boards by Blake Perbix, who fed that one up high, and then it was buried into the back of the net.
Yes, Smith lets the arrow fly into the XL Energy Center crowd. Smith and Perbix, who combined for 129 points on the regular season. Smith has his second goal of the game. 2:20 to go in the second period, and now Greenway will have to answer again as they'll drive it down into the offensive zone as Ryla pushes it up into the corner, kicks it back out to Miller at the point. Miller's pass back for Ryla, intercepted though, and back come the Crusaders into the offensive zone. There's Savoy with a shot, and that one was saved at the last second by goaltender Wright.
Big save there. Mark the tape.
He's coming with a shot, and that one will go over the top of the net. We played back through behind the net. Miller trying to get it ahead for Trombley. Trombley will get it back out to neutral ice, but the Crusaders will be able to force it right back in deep. Here's Eilich behind the net with it. He tries to get it out as Lawson eventually able to get it back out through neutral ice. Ryla putting some physical play on, trying to disrupt some of these Crusader rushes, and on the near side boards in the neutral zone as it's forced back the other direction, and we're going to get a penalty coming here against St. Cloud Cathedral. 1:15 to go in the second period. It's going to be a high sticking penalty against the Crusaders. It's going to be Ethan Cumming heading to the box. The 6th power play upcoming for the Raiders in this game. Maybe it's rather the 5th. They did have that 5-minute major, so maybe they just kind of blended in a little bit. So this will be their 5th power play. They're 2 for 4. The Crusaders push the face-off up into the corner in their own zone. Chip back out to the point, held in by Lance, who has a power play goal. Lawson trying to slow it down on the end board. Gets it back over to Trombley. Trombley back to Lawson. Lawson starts his drive as he tried to slide it toward Vekic out front, but it is cleared.
Smoke, too.
Cleared with authority by the Crusaders. Under a minute to go here in the second period. 1:33 to go in the power play. Lance working his way up ice as he gets it to Lawson. Lawson will gain the offensive zone. Lawson, what a move. Lawson with a shot saved by Amundsen.
He got absolutely smoked right before then off the side of the net by C.J. Zins. Heads back up ice, waits for the breakout, gets it back, and then when he walks up ice, he just says, okay, inside out. As he's getting checked, he goes down and tried to go up over the shoulder. That would have been a highlight reel for the ages.
Absolutely. How close he was. Offensive zone face-off. Lawson will take the draw here as he wins it. Miller controls at the point. Now up high, the Lance with it. Lance cycles it back to Trombley. Lance gets it back. Now back to Trombley. We're under 30 seconds to go in the period as they try to get it down low to Lawson, but it was intercepted and cleared out by the Crusaders. 20 seconds to go in the period. 1:03 in the power play. Lance up in the far side corner with it as he'll play it up toward Trombley. Trombley gets it to Lawson. Lawson into the offensive zone with 3 bodies in front of him. A turnaround centering feed. It's loose in front of Amundsen. He'll dive on it. With 2:8 to go here in the second period.
Barring a wild goal at the close here of this period, this thing is going to be split off into the third period with 45 seconds of power play time for Greenway, who trail 4-2 here late in the second period.
What a thrilling game that we've had this afternoon. As the face-off pushed up to the far side boards, and that'll be how the second period will come to an end. The St. Cloud Cathedral, they asserted themselves quite well in that second period, Pete.
Yeah, they did. They did when they needed to, especially as they killed off that major penalty, which could have been a tough one to handle, and then they came back and scored one late here in the period on their version of the power play, and it was well done. I like the work off the end boards up to the top of the slot, the quick touch pass down to the right wing, and the left-hand shot goes upstairs to the shelf. It was really textbook. It's what you work on in practice, and you know, we'll see if the fatigue factor does for Greenway here, if they get worn down. But, you know, we've been saying that all weekend, and they have found a way. But this is day 3. This is the championship. But we'll see what they can do. I mean, they've got a ton of resilience, and they've proven to be a team that has absolutely captured the hearts of the state of Minnesota. And you know what? Dante Lawson is a household name here in high school hockey history lore. I mean, he's going down as something special. Even if he's not converting on goals, that last opportunity he had, the way he created 1-on-2, still found a way to do it. Patrick, we'll take a quick time out. We have to hear from some of our friends that are making this possible for each and every one of us. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. We'll be back with more right after this. We continue our between periods coverage here at the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament, and we're joined by a very special guest. He's known as Matza Matt. He from Brew Pub Pizza and Lots of Matza. Matt, thanks for joining us here today. I know you're a busy guy, and we got lots to talk about. You've got some great product and some of the best ingredients in your pizzas for sure.
Hey, thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me. Yeah, absolutely. Brew Pub Lots of Matza pizzas. Really the ingredients for a great time, whether you're listening to a hockey game or whether you're enjoying the game and you want a treat afterwards. Brew Pub Lots of Matzahs are the way to go. Made with the finest ingredients, Pete. We've got the finest quality meat and veggie ingredients. We've got, of course, a couple of different varieties, too, that folks love, like the Mac Attack, which is a macaroni and cheese pizza. And then the best thing, the one thing that sets Brew Pub Lots of Matzah pizzas apart from the rest, over half a pound of award-winning Wisconsin mozzarella cheese. I've never heard anybody say, whoa, hold on the cheese. That's too much cheese. So we definitely have a great amount of cheese. We've got the great sauce and that thin crust for Brew Pub Lots of Matzah pizzas. It's the best around.
So seriously, whenever you buy a pizza from the grocery store, there's never enough cheese. But I have always known when I buy one of those, the Brew Pub Lots of Matzah, I'm more than pleased, more than happy, and it is perfect. You're right, the crust totally grooves. And here's the best part is between periods, what we do know is people like to get up, they like to move around. Now is the time, the oven's already heated up, throw it in there, and it doesn't take that long to have these things out and ready because you're not baking a loaf of bread.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, pizzas are the answer, whenever you're having friends over, or if it's the traditional Friday night pizza for the family, for mom and dad and the kids or whatever the case may be, Brew Pub Lots of Matzah pizzas are the way to go. And the one thing I love about you, it's a filling pizza. Like, you buy some of the other brands that they just, you have one piece, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're just not satisfied. With the Brew Pub Lots of Matzah, man, with those ingredients, with that cheese, you have a couple of pieces, and boom, you are taken care of. It's a very hearty and just a great pizza.
Except no substitutes. The others are basically an appetizer. This is the meal. So let's talk about some of the things that you guys do. You've got some really cool things coming up, and especially supporting law enforcement. Matt, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're a local company, Pete. We've got a production facility in Maple Lake, Minnesota, so made right there. We've got a production facility in Kaukauna, Wisconsin. And one thing about Bernatello's Foods, Bernatello's is the company that owns the Brew Pub Lots of Matzah, and we've got other brands as well. But we really support our veterans. We really support our law enforcement. We feel that it's very important to give back to those who serve us on a regular basis, an everyday basis. And so coming up here in May during National Law Enforcement Week, we're actually going to be tag teaming with a couple of different police departments, like one down in Sioux City. We're going to tag team with the Sioux City Police Department, the Edina Police Department, and then we're going to also tag team with Wausau PD over in Wisconsin. And we're going to host an event called Pizza with Police. The public is invited to come out, purchase a slice of pizza and a soda, and then we're going to donate that money back to a nonprofit organization. For example, in Minnesota, it's going to go back to Minnesota Law Enforcement Memorial Association, and they help pay for the funerals of men and women who have lost their lives in the line of duty. So a phenomenal organization, and we love giving back to veterans as well. So again, just a couple of groups of people that we really love to take care of.
That is a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can first of all go to your local grocery store and pick up a Brew Pub Lots of Matzah pizza all over the Twin Cities area, actually all over the upper Midwest, extend down to Kansas City, North Dakota, South Dakota, etc. So check us out online, too. You can go to Bernatellos.com or brewpubpizza.com. And, first of all, get yourself a delicious pizza, and then check out our webpage and find out when we're going to be at an event near you. We do a lot of country music festivals during the summer. We're going to be involved in a number of different things in Minnesota. So we're really excited to continue to get out there, shake hands, and let people experience a Brew Pub Lots of Matzah pizza.
Fire that webpage past us real quick.
Yep, it's brewpubpizza.com, so you can go to brewpubpizza.com, and then you'll be able to follow us there. And, of course, on Facebook, too, at brewpubpizza.
And then finally, those of you that are part of youth programs know that the Brew Pub Lots of Matzah, Bernatello's, obviously the parent company, provides a great fundraising opportunity. And a lot of our listeners are parents that are on boards or coaches or leaders of youth organizations. Tell us how they can make money selling your pizzas for their organizations.
Yeah, this is so exciting. Everybody, families have a great opportunity to raise some funds for their youth teams, for their youth organizations, and it's so simple. So we, Brew Pub Lots of Matzah, we tag team with a local grocery store. Folks that are involved with the team or the organization go out and sell coupons, and then those who buy the coupons can bring it into the grocery store and redeem them right there. So your kids aren't aren't delivering the frozen pizza. So, I mean, I'm sure it's happened before where you forget about the pizza and then before you know it, it's in the back of the car and you forgot to take it to Sally's house. That's not how it is with our fundraiser. So, yes, again, check it out. Check out more information at our webpage, bernatellas.com or brewpubpizza.com. And we've got a lot of great information there on our fundraising. It really is, and it's helped out a lot of teams. Edina, I know, Youth Hockey Association and their high school does it as well. So, yeah, check it out. It'd be great for you to come on board.
That's awesome stuff. You don't turn the youth players into your delivery drivers. Instead, as we go to the store, we can pick it up and enjoy great product. Matt, be safe. I know you're out and about, and you're a very busy guy. Thanks for joining us here with the State High School Hockey Tournament coverage. Have yourself a great day, buddy.
Thank you so much, Pete. Appreciate the time.
We'll be back with more high school hockey coming up right after this. We're between periods of high school hockey state tournament coverage and section playoff time, and one of our great supporters and partners is the Sportsman's Guide, and we're joined by Scott Eichstad, Senior Vice President of Customer Experience and Operations. He's got a big job with a very big company that's located in South St. Paul, Minnesota. And, Scott, you had an event last year called the Sportsman's Guide Beyond the Pond Sale. That's year one. This is becoming an annual event because you're bringing it back coming up on March 9th at noon at your store. Thanks for joining us once again, and we're excited to help promote this event for you. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on with your event?
Absolutely. Again, thanks for having me. And last year was our first annual Beyond the Pond sale event here at the Sportsman's Guide, and it was a success. We partnered with KFAN, and again, we're doing that again this year. They're going to have their live show right on location here in our store in South St. Paul. And Kevin Fallness, Pat Nicoletti, and Lou Annie's going to be on site. And it's just a wonderful opportunity for customers to come in and meet the legends within the state of Minnesota hockey, and at the same time take advantage of some incredible one-day only deals, up to 60% off on a lot of product in our store. So we had a great kickoff event last year, and year two, and we foresee doing this year after year here, and the timing of it is great with the state high school hockey tournament, and which I obviously have a passion for on my past with hockey. So we're really looking forward to it. Well, it's a great event, and it's a time we're all talking about hockey, and there's nothing more pure than high school hockey. I think that's what both of us have talked about a lot, and it's been in our blood for a long time. And there's a lot of traffic that's moving toward the St. Paul area, and I think one of the most important things is about your store. It's phenomenal. I mean, you've got everything in there, and for those that are familiar with it, they know exactly what they need, where they want to go, and what they have to do. But for those that are usually online shoppers, can you tell us a little bit about your in-store experience? Absolutely. We're, again, Sportsman's Guide. We're in South St. Paul. We've been here. The Sportsman's Guide been around for about 40 years. And, the thing is with our store, whatever your passion, if you're an outdoors person, you're gonna find it in our store. If it's ammunition and shooting supplies, firearms, hunting equipment, tree stands, surplus, boots, shoes, clothing, fishing, camping, you name it, we have it. We have a rare and unique military surplus gear from the United States and all over the world. We've got a huge selection of ammunition that we sell most items in bulk. And then we have this clearance corner that at any given time there's discounts up to 30 to 60% off every day. So, and then a couple of other unique things I think for our store is if you're a first responder, retired or active duty military member, you receive 10% off your purchase or 5% off ammunition and firearms and other select items. Just our way of saying thank you for the men and women out there that support and take care of our country. Well, Beyond the Pond is one of Minnesota's Twin Cities only wall-to-wall hockey shows for 2 hours that you can find, and they're completely plugged in with Pat Micheletti and Brandon Molesky. I don't know if he's going to be a part of it again this year. You mentioned Kevin Fallness will be in the house. Lou Nanny will be there. It's a great time to come in, talk hockey. Check out your up to 60% off on sale items in the store. I suppose that covers just pretty much everything, right, Scott? I mean, I would assume. Yeah, there's going to be deals and discounts. We're going to have some great drawings. We've got a Hummingbird Helix that's going to be a drawing item. We have some NCHC Frozen Face-Off tickets that are going to be available, and also a special prize from Ruger that you have to come in to see. And so we've got great discounts on anything that you are looking for from an outdoors perspective, activities, and then we've got some great drawing items. And at the same time, you can meet and get to know and listen to the show of Beyond the Pond, and get an opportunity to meet Lou Nanny, Pat Micheletti, and Kevin Fulness. So it's going to be fun.
And then once again, your address in South St. Paul is?
490 Hardman Avenue, South St. Paul, Minnesota, and right off of 494 off Concord Avenue.
Perfect. So it's easy to get there. Either way, you're coming on 494, you exit Concord, you go north about a block or so, and you turn right, and it's right there. Massive, expansive facility. You guys have a warehouse within the store. So the storefront serves great, but then you can actually have people go back and pick your product as well.
That's the unique thing about our store, and that's the exciting thing about our store, is that from a square footage standpoint, it's not overly large, but we are connected to our warehouse, which is 400,000 square feet. So we have over 30,000 unique items in our warehouse that we obviously put into our retail store, some of them. But what's nice about our store, you can come and shop on the kiosk, go on the web, filter through our catalogs, and whatever we have in our warehouse, that shopping experience is taking place in our store. So we can do just a quick will call order. We'll go pick it out of the store, out of the warehouse, bring it into the store. And now, instead of a handful, the assorted items that we have in the store, we're expanding that to the warehouse, which is 30,000 SKUs. So it's a vast variety of items and a large amount of items that a customer can shop at any given time in our one store.
It's a hybrid shopping experience where you can experience the selections of an online purchase, yet you can touch it, feel it, and buy it. It's a great situation. So let's be sure to check out the Sportsman's Guide Beyond the Pond sale. 10 a.m. to noon on March 9th. That's Championship Saturday. Beyond the Pond and the crew will be there. Excited to see year two be even more successful after a great run last year. 60% off items, and you're going to have a number of drawings and things available, tickets as well. It's great stuff, Scott. Thanks for supporting high school hockey and making our coverage possible.
Thanks a lot. You're very welcome, and we're here to serve the public, and we're excited for the event that's coming in the next couple Saturdays here.
We'll be back with more coming up right after this.
Welcome back inside the XL Energy Center here on MNHockey.tv. St. Cloud Cathedral, 17 minutes away from their first championship and the first winners of the brand new Eveleth Trophy as they lead things here 4-2 over Greenway after 2 periods of play. Greenway will begin the third period with 45 seconds of power play time. We make our sponsors for today the Sportsman's Guide, Brew Pub, Lots of Matza Pizza, Tradition Companies, Optimal Goalie, of course, as well, and RJM Construction supporting us throughout this wonderful run. We welcome Pete Wagner back into the broadcast booth. I'm Patrick Lilia, happy to be along with you for the Class A Championship. Happy to be part of the Class A bracket side of the tournament. We started with 8, we're down to 2, and we'll have a winner after the next 17 minutes. Theoretically, we should anyway. 4-2, the Crusaders holding the lead. Again, Greenway, though, will have 45 seconds of power play time to begin the final period.
How about this for some interesting state tournament news for you? A little bit of a nugget for you. After Duluth East went to work and beat Lakeville South by a score of 5-0 in the consolation final of the Class 2A. Lakeville South's Henry Welsh has broken the most saves by an individual in the tournament over a 3-game period with 131 saves, 63 against Eden Prairie, which was 2 off tying Carl Gehring's record set in a 5-overtime thriller that I was at the St. Paul Civic Center against the Duluth East Greyhounds. 34 against White Bear Lake, 34 against Duluth East. The previous record was set in 1970 by Doug Long from St. Paul Johnson, who had 124.
The Crusader fans and the Greenway fans getting a little bit of the chance going. The Crusader fans, they can sure feel it as they lead by 2 as we're now underway here in the third period. It's Greenway, 34 seconds to go in the power play time. The offensive zone come the Raiders. Here's Trombley on the near side. Trombley gets it back to Lance. Lance back to Trombley. Trombley to Lawson. Lawson being forced back as he gets it back to Trombley. Trombley with a shot through traffic. That'll go wide off the end.
Partially deflected there.
He said partially deflected as well. Trombley has it back now. It's Lawson. 10 seconds to go in the power play. Back up to Lance. Lance through traffic, and that's blocked out front. I think it hit Vekic. Turnaround shot. That was blocked out front. Vekic with a turnaround shot just wide of the net. And Trombley with a shot on the one-timer right out in front of Amundsen, who makes the save.
Well, that was a nice feed off the end boards. The Lance missile hit the end wall. Bounces right back behind the net. And then it was handled by Lawson, who found his guy Trombley. He kind of turned and just sort of threw it out there quickly. That was that was just trapped between the arm and the armpit. You got to give Amundsen a lot of credit. He is being challenged to the nth degree here.
As again, the Raiders able to maintain the offensive zone attack on the near side boards off the face-off, and now there's a turnaround trying to center it are the Raiders, and now it's intercepted, brought back the other way. Here's Smith, gets it cross ice to Perbix as they gain the offensive zone. Smith takes it back. Warner back to Smith. What a save by Wright. It's loose out front once again, and this time the shot
that
is
might have hit
blocked.
the post, Patrick. I'm not sure from this angle. We're a mile away.
They're very high up here as Riola, who tried to gain the offensive zone, took a big hit from Smith as he gained, and Perbix able to get it back out to neutral ice. The Raiders will reset in their own zone. 15:25 to go here in the final period. As Riola dumps it in deep for the Raiders. It'll be played off the end board. CJ Zins with Kristen Birdsall in hot pursuit. It'll be played back along the end boards, now directly behind the net as it comes around to the near side corner. The Raiders will set up for an offensive zone attack once again as they try to set up Birdsall on the redirect.
I'm sure we're going to get a look at this replay here in the press box on that chance. I think this hit the post. The feed over to the right side. Yep.
Oh, he did hit the post on
Clanked
the far
it right
side.
off the
Yes,
top post.
About the face-off.
Oh, man, that was clean.
Played back to the point as the Raiders maintain the offensive zone again. Now the Crusaders break out back the other way. Here's Savoy through neutral ice. Savoy into the offensive zone. Savoy will work his way around the net, carry it back to the far side. We'll try to get it down low for Hiltner as it's poked away. It's still loose out front, then it's poked away from Smith. Cumming trying to center it, but that one was knocked down. And here come the Raiders back the other direction, 2-on-2 at the blue line with Cumming in hot pursuit as he catches up to the play and breaks it up. Puck ends up on the far side boards. Here come the Raiders again on the offensive attack. Lance trying to center it, so it's swatted away by Nate Martin down to the near side boards. As Martin will carry it into the offensive. Oh, what a move by Martin, and he shoots it and saved by Wright.
Wow, he froze the defenseman there, made a terrific play. Kind of did a little shoulder juke down, and it was a stunning move there, but a nice save made by Wright to keep this a 2-goal game at 4-2 with 14:16 to go in the third.
The faceoff will come to the left of Wright. It's kind of funny to say the left of Wright to the right of Wright. It's been a
the right of left.
It's been funny all. It's been a fun thing to say all tournament long as it's back out now at neutral ice. The Crusaders able to play it back in deep as Miller will carry it around the net. He'll play it up toward Vekic on the far side. Vekic cross-ice pass toward Riola. Riola will gain the offensive zone. Oh, what a move. Riola then shoots it wide as he
he's
slipped his way through the two defenders.
He's having some chances here. Ryle is one of the captains of this team, and he did a nice little toe pull there, gets away from the defense. As he walks in, he tries to bury that one up high. Today's coverage presented in part by Brew Pub Pizza, Lots of Matza, Sportsman's Guide, Tradition Companies. Check them out at traditionco.com. RJM Construction. For all your construction needs, you can check out their website. They've got some great projects that they've been a part of in the hockey world, and they do the rinks with the best of them. If you need a remodel, there's tons of things that need to be done, especially from state mandates as well. They're your crew to get it done. And then Optimal Goalie with Larry Grace Jr. He has a terrific resume going right now, working with a couple of organizations that I'm affiliated with as well. 13:56 to go, 23-22 shots on goal in favor of St. Cloud Cathedral.
The Greenway, Pete, they've had chances here. They are not out of this game at all. We'll have a neutral zone face-off coming here. It'll be just outside of the St. Cloud Cathedral zone. We're talking about, Pete, the Raiders they're generating chances. They're getting pucks into the offensive zone. Well, certainly Greenway really they're hanging around. They're not. We've talked about all tournament. They've been down and they've come back every time. I think they're just waiting now for that red light to go off. Just missing a kind of an extra long TV timeout as now that light does click off. There we go. Smith into the offensive zone. Smith trying to get it up toward Perbix. Couldn't handle it as Perbix's centering feed found absolutely nobody. Comes back around to the near side boards. Perbix again centers it, but this time we found a Greenway player, but able to be held in again by the Crusaders. Miller battling up in the corner now is able to flip it back out to neutral ice. Bell with it deep in his own zone. Bell being forced back now deeper in his own zone as he got it to Bogenholm. He'll get it back out to neutral ice. And into the offensive zone will come the Raiders. They'll be able to play this one down in deep. Miller behind the net. Turn around, wrap around, and that's blocked. Second chance.
Oh!
Amundsen still able to make the save, and he covers it up.
The rebound that was sent his way by Tristan Birdsall went off his pad, and he just got it out in time as he had the stomach down, pad spread to each post. You've seen that kind of spread eagle thing. And he tried to poke check it away, and it just trickled its way right in on him as they tried to force the pad through, but the whistle blows as the puck gets covered. I'm not sure how the puck got covered because it was still sitting there.
Talking about the officials kind of having a little bit of, there were a lot of players in front. Perhaps the official just unable to see it at that point. And I think if the official can no longer see the puck, it's that point that they blow it.
Yeah,
down.
and I'm just suggesting that if the goaltender doesn't cover the puck in the crease, then someone else is, and then that's trouble.
Absolutely.
And so how did it get covered is the question, and why was the whistle blown if it wasn't?
Back through the neutral zone come the Raiders. There's a shot that's blocked. It's a follow-up by Trombley, then pushed wide of the net to the end boards as Lawson will play it around to the point, able to be held in by Lance. Lance plays it to Lawson behind the net as he got hit on the end board before he could try to let off a centering feed. It comes around to the near side. Now poked through the neutral zone as Lance will race to pick it up in his own zone. Cumming gives him a little stick tap as he reverses direction. The battle ensues on the near side boards. Now sent out through neutral ice. This pass out of the reach of Lawson. It'll go all the way back into the Crusader zone. Crusaders play it around to the near side. 12:17 to go now in the final period. 4-2, St. Cloud Cathedral with the lead. Trombley with a turnaround shot that'll go past everything down to the near side boards in the corner. This one taken away by Lawson. Lawson had his shot blocked by Bell as that went off perhaps the shin or the skate. This one intercepted by Miller, who rips a shot high over the net. As the puck caroms its way back through the neutral zone, and Eilich back to pick it up deep in his own zone for the Raiders. They'll set up behind the net as taken away from him by Hiltner. There's Cumming trying to maintain possession. Miller will end up taking it away for the Raiders. It's able to be held in by the Crusaders briefly. Birdsall able to get it back out to neutral, and then Sven sends it in deep for the Crusaders once again. 11:23 to go here in regulation. 4-2 in favor of St. Cloud Cathedral. The puck sent down deep into the Crusader zone. Zinn's back to get it behind his own net. He'll play it to Warner on the near side. Warner will backhand it into the neutral zone. Or Trebojevic will get it to Raiola. Raiola will retreat deeper into his own zone. He backhands the pass off to the near side, far side boards. Into the offensive zone is Lawson. Lawson almost worked his way through. Rather, that was Lance, my apologies, on the far side corner. Raiola will come out with it. Raiola gets it back to Lance at the point. Lance through traffic. That was deflected up into the corner. It's Bekic able to poke it down to the near side for the Greenway Raiders as it banks its way back behind the net. Now played around to Perbix on the far side boards. Perbix will get it to Warner in the neutral zone. Warner into the offensive zone as he tried to work his way around Trebojevic as it pokes its way in on Wright, who will cover it up, and we'll have an offensive zone face-off for the Crusaders with 10:28 to go in regulation. 4-2 St. Cloud Cathedral leading.
Well, it's been a nice surge so far in this third period by the Greenway Raiders as they had a nice start, but now St. Cloud Cathedral has kind of leveled that playing field and they're turning the tide back the other way. You hate to get into the cliche mode, but might as well. Next one's the biggest here.
There's a long shot from the point by Bogenholm. That'll be held onto by Wright, and another offensive zone face-off coming to his right here with 10:23 to go in regulation. 24-24 now in shots on goal. Face-off again controlled by the Crusaders. Bogenholm will play this one through the corner. As Savoy able to get this one up, as Hiltner will get to it first ahead of Lance. As Eilich gets the play tied up on the end boards, and the puck squirts its way free down to the near side. As the Raiders get it back out to the neutral zone, as trying to send it back the other way was Hiltner. Battle ensues on the near side boards in the neutral zone, now poked back the other way into the Crusader zone. As Jamander will take a wide shot, that'll ring its way all the way back to the point, able to be held in by the Raiders as Lawson gets tied up in the corner. It's played around the Crusader net down to the near side. It's back into the offensive zone. Hiltner trying to get it ahead for Cumming. As Cumming got tied up, it'll be played up to the far side boards. And then backhanded down to the near side. Here's Trombley. Trombley will gain the offensive zone. Trombley will take a wide shot that'll go behind the net. Back up, be held in by Birdsall.
He was alone 1-on-4 there. Didn't have much to do, but just try to put one on net there.
Still got a fairly good look at it.
He did.
This one will tip off the stick of Nate Martin in on Logan Wright, who will cover it up with the glove, and it will have a face-off coming out of the TV timeout. 4-2, St. Cloud Cathedral leading with 9:13 to play.
It was a terrific feed by Lawson from the far boards on the left wing all the way across to the speedy Trombley, and it was a backhander. And that's the things, it's just the little things. Lawson catches passes anywhere you put him, and he feeds them beautifully. It's some really, really good stuff. We're going to take a quick timeout. We're going to hear from the High School League for 10 seconds. We'll be back with more as high school hockey continues right here at the MNHockey.tv.
This is Twins broadcaster Dick Bramer and a 1974 graduate of Staples High School. You're listening to the Minnesota State High School League State Tournament. We are the league. This is Twins broadcaster Dick Bramer.
Pete Wagner, Patrick Lolia back with you here at the XL Energy Center. The Class A tournament final, 4-2 St. Cloud Cathedral with the lead with 9:13 to play. An offensive zone face-off coming for the Crusaders here. We also got Matt Harrington, John Sands on site as well. They keep us up and running. Bart
Archer feverishly preparing for the big game. I don't know what he needs to prepare for. We've been the broadcast voice, webcast voice of the Eden Prairie Eagles and Edina Hornets.
Two teams that we, as at MNHockey.tv, very familiar with. Two teams very familiar with each other as well. The face-off to the right of Logan Wright is controlled by the Crusaders, and
nice
there's a shot
save
by Warner that was saved and steered aside by Wright up onto the far side boards. Birdsall controls, trying to bank it out of the zone. Is winding up for a blast. That one will go wide by Perbix. Now being controlled by Trebojevic behind the Raider net, sent back out to neutral ice, and then sent in offsides. We'll have a neutral zone face-off, 8:54 to go in regulation. 4-2, St. Cloud Cathedral with the lead. They've steadily started to pull away a little bit in this one as Greenway went ahead first. Cathedral with two straight goals after that by Schmidt and Savoy, and then Cam Lance on the power play evened it at 2. But the only 2 goals of the second period going the way of St. Cloud Cathedral by Jackson Savoy, his second of the day, and Jack Smith. And that's how we got to our 4-2. About to pass the midpoint of the third period into the offensive zone. Quickly now are the Raiders as Lawson steers it around the net. Rather, that's Riola. Riola turnaround shot that's blocked. Goes around to the near side boards. Riola trying to get it to Trombley behind him as a battle ensues on those near side boards. Now poked out into the neutral zone. It's played back in deep by the Raiders. We're now past the midpoint of this third period, 8:18 and counting to go in regulation. 4-2, St. Cloud Cathedral with the lead. That's Bogenholm circling his net. Kicked out into the neutral zone all the way down into the Raider zone as Miller turns around and slaps it back into the neutral zone as the Crusaders able to play it in deep. We passed the 11-minute mark here of this final period. 4-2 in favor of St. Cloud Cathedral. 7:53 remaining and counting. 25-24 shots on goal. As Trombley, oh, what a move. Then he had his pocket pick. Turnaround shot by Trombley anyway was saved. Amundsen is down, and somehow he was able to find it and hold on.
For Greenway, it was Birdsall who threw it toward the goal mouth area as Amundsen was turned away from the puck, and he gobbles it up and holds on to it. I don't know how he was able to. He was going one way. It was on his rear end. He reached over to his right, and then he spun around and then covered it up. He's had to scramble to make a few saves here, and he's been improvising, and that's half of the goaltending, and a great job defensively in the crease area. Between the post was tied down, or check that was C.J. Zins to block that potential opportunity off the short side as well, the defenseman.
The face-off in the Cathedral zone, again controlled by the Raiders. Here's Miller up high as he tries to get it down low, and it's swept back out by the Crusaders, and they'll get it out to neutral ice. 7:22 now to play in regulation. 4-2, St. Cloud Cathedral leading the Greenway Raiders. Into the offensive zone come the Crusaders. There's a shot high over the top of the net, and it works its way down to the near side, trying to catch up to his own rebound with Perbix. It'll work its way now back into the neutral zone. The Raiders now play it in their own zone as we pass the 10-minute mark of this final period. St. Cloud Cathedral, they can start to smell it a little bit, but Greenway's not going to go away just yet as the Raiders in the offensive zone play it around the net to the far side as the Crusaders take it back into the offensive zone. There's a shot that'll go off the end boards by Nolan Widman. Back around to the near side boards. As Eilick behind his own net will play it for Lawson. Lawson on the far side will send a cross-ice pass down to the near side. As Trbojevic into the offensive zone. Trbojevic slips and falls and loses control of the puck. And the Crusaders able to get it back out for a clear. 6:20 now to go in regulation. Vekic behind his own net looking to break out. As this cross-ice pass is a little bit out of reach of Trbojevic. It's Hiltner in the circle. Hiltner getting tripped up.
They got away with one there.
Absolutely. Is Cumming trying to backhand one toward the net. It ends up in the corner. Now sent back out into the neutral zone. Raiders into the offensive zones. We're under 6 minutes to go. There's a shot that's saved by Amundsen. He's able to hold on. No rebound opportunity there.
5:53 to go in the third period. 26-25 the shots on goal in favor of Greenway. 4-2 on the all-important scoreboard for St. Cloud Cathedral. Really, it gets into the clock is your enemy time if you're Greenway, and it can't go fast enough if you're St. Cloud Cathedral. I mean, Cathedral expect them to be playing station to station, chip the boards, get the puck out of the zone. Don't allow the big line of Greenway to go to work, especially off the end boards, which is what they like to do. The one thing that St. Cloud Cathedral has done throughout this game is they've been able to slow down the rush through the neutral zone. They've been able to get the transition game a little bit contained from Greenway, and they've done a nice job of that. And I think Amundsen's been a real big story here. He's made some huge saves. Sprawling, as I mentioned, improvised type of saves. They've been big difference makers.
Now, as they say, it's going to be a very short 5 minutes and 53 seconds for Greenway and a very long 5 minutes and 53 seconds for St. Cloud Cathedral. As we're in the TV timeout here. As Greenway, I wouldn't say they really need to change anything. They're doing everything they need to do. They're just not getting the puck in the net.
Coming up at 4 o'clock, they will start the evening session, third place game, which will be played out right here at the XL Energy Center. We will not be covering that game. We'll be covering it online with the live scoring. We may do a quick recap for that game as well. And then we'll have Edina and Eden Prairie. That's going to be St. Thomas Academy and Blaine going at it in the third place game. Edina, Eden Prairie in the final.
Running up for a shot off the face-off with Miller as it caroms back into the neutral zone. Lawson back to pick it up. As Perbix possesses now for the Crusaders. Here's Bell. Bell will play it in deep. It'll work its way around the Raider net down to the near side. Ellick getting hit in the corner. Will come back around to the near side boards. Here come the Raiders through neutral ice. Wyala into the offensive zone up the right wing side. As he'll play it off the end boards. It'll come to Lawson. Lawson with a shot through the blue. It comes down to the near side. As Trombley struggling to hold the zone but is able to do so. It comes back around to the near side boards. And now chipped out deep into the Raider zone once again with 5:10 to go. It's going to be an icing against St. Cloud Cathedral. So another offensive zone faceoff coming for the Raiders in a very big spot. They can get a quick goal out of the sequence. Certainly going to be a very long 5 minutes. Faceoff will be to the left of Amundsen. And then again, the Raiders able to control, but then Miller's shot was blocked. Here come the Crusaders back out to neutral ice into the offensive zone, dumping this one deep is Cumming. It'll go off the back of the net. Cumming racing to catch up with this one as the Raiders take possession. Out of the near side. There's Trombley into the offensive zone. Trombley will send a soft shot in on Amundsen. Will make an easy save with the glove as he tumbles backwards after he folds the glove around that one after the whistle. 4:49 to go now in the third period. Another offensive zone faceoff coming for Greenway. Ryala will step into the faceoff circle against Smith. It's Ryala able to win the faceoff. Trombley at the point. Trombley plays this one through the near side circle down to the near side corner. Battle ensues on the boards. Miller comes out with it. He gets it back to Trombley. To Boyevich at the blue line, my apologies. It comes back to the near side corner. Now out at neutral ice. It's Cumming into the offensive zone. Cumming driving toward the net as he loses control as he began his drive toward right. But sent back around to the near side. 4:20 to go now in regulation. 4-2, St. Cloud Cathedral with the lead here. The Class A title game. That's Ryala out at neutral. Trying to get it to Lawson. Oh, what a move. Lawson into the offensive zone. Lawson, what a move as he loses control as he started making his move cross ice in front of the net. Well, they'll be held in by the Raiders. They'll play it around toward the back of the net. Around to the near side corner. Ryala playing it behind the net. Lawson, who has to pick it off. I think it almost got stuck on the back of the net. And now it does get stuck on the back of the net again. And now play will be stopped with the puck caught up on the back of the net. 3:47 to go in regulation. That's going to be big because that's going to bring the face-off. Oh, they're going to bring it down. Never mind. It looked like they were starting to move toward the neutral zone, but it looked like it's going to be a line change for the Greenway Raiders. And Wright is headed to the bench for the extra attacker. The players just kind of milling about, and they're going to move it now out into the...
I think they called it timeout.
That was my other thought as well, that perhaps a timeout had been called, but
I guess they didn't.
Some kind of discussion.
I thought I saw the timeout from the official.
Well, because the players were all just kind of milling about, because it first looked like they were going to move the face-off into the neutral zone. Then it looked like they were going to have a timeout, and now we do get the timeout called by Greenway with 3:47 to go. As Wright is off, the extra attacker will be on. And there are also only 5 players on the ice for the Raiders, so there might have been some kind of miscommunication about that entire sequence.
That might have been on purpose to get some rest, and then now they can work their way to the bench and get a little bit more. 3:47 right off the ice. I mean, we're talking just under 4 minutes here of play, and they're going to go after it.
The shades of the Patrick Waugh days.
The Patty Waugh.
The Colorado Avalanche.
He kind of revolutionized that. Even with 1 goal deficit, I think he had some analytics where he was finding that you have to have, I always like to have possession, take my chances 5-on-5 if my team's playing well. Then if it's under a minute, get down to between the 55 and 45 second marker, get them off, and then see what you can do.
So we're in this quick timeout here. Quick thoughts on tonight's game. Edina, Eden Prairie, not a lot to say. They've seen each other so much that, we
Well, Edina's really had their way. And I think, to me, Patrick, that's going to be the tricky part is do they expect it and just do it and it becomes more difficult, or does Eden Prairie say, well, this is Edina and we can't do what we usually do? I think because it's a state final, that all bets are off. I'm expecting what should be a very good hockey game tomorrow.
As the Cathedral fans getting into it, offensive zone face-off for the Raiders here as they're able to control. Again, the extra attacker is on as that shot there by Trombley held onto by Amundsen. 3:40 to go in regulation. 4-2, St. Cloud Cathedral leading it. Again, the face-off to the left of Amundsen. This time controlled by Bell. Bell will play it around to the far side corner. Perbix, who had the empty net goal yesterday against East Grand Forks. Smith battling along the far side boards as well. Perbix able to take it away. Turnaround shot will go well wide of the empty net and will be an icing against St. Cloud Cathedral.
He pickpocketed Lance, who thought he had a little more time there, and the big reach hauled that one away.
Another offensive zone face-off for the Raiders. Now 3:22 to go in regulation. They need to score twice. Birdsall will take the face-off against Smith. Raiders again able to control. There's a shot, and that one just deflected wide as Trombley had worked his way out front. Ends up trapped up on the far side boards. Raiders able to hold again. Still loose on those far side boards. It'll be flipped up and out as Miller playing back a little bit just in case, able to keep the break toward the empty net from happening as the Raiders possessing now in their own zone. They get it back to neutral. Lawson. In the offensive zone now, here they come. There's Lance with it. Lance works his way into the corner. They get it to Lawson. Play it off the Nets. They're trying to stuff it by. It's loose out front and now swept out. And It's going to be another icing call here against the St. Cloud Cathedral.
They had a really good look there off the end boards, Patrick. A great chance in against Amundsen, and they kept it out of the net. Rattled around a little bit. They cleared the length of the ice to the Crusaders of St. Cloud Cathedral. Won their last matchup by a score of 5-3, looking to duplicate that now with a 2-goal lead here at 4-2.
Face-off push down to the end boards. Empty net for the Greenway Raiders. This one sent into the neutral zone. Lance back to pick it up there. Lance will send it cross ice down to Lawson as they're forced back toward their own zone. Lenzen throws it toward the empty net, but 3 Raiders able to get in the way of that one in case the first one was unable to stop the shot, which he did. As again flipped toward the empty net, and now Lance has to get in the way of that one, and he was the only one in the way there. As Riola will take possession. Riola has this one, though, taken away. As Smith takes a couple of hits. It's loose on the near side, thrown toward the empty net, and that'll go wide. It'll be another icing call here.
You know, the Greenway Raiders are doing an incredible job of really denying scoring chances with the empty net. A lot of heart there through the neutral zone.
They're going to penalty against the Raiders here. It's going to be Trombley, and that's a big goal scorer to be taken off the ice when you're down by 2.
We went down low there on the legs, and they're going to call that one every time as upended on the play with St. Cloud Cathedral's Jackson Savoy.
As Amundsen will have to come back into the net, so 5-on-4.
They'll have to pull him just to get it back to 5-on-5 now.
It's played off the end boards, 1:40 to go now in regulation. It'll work its way deep into the Crusader zone. Bell plays it back the other way for Warner along the far side boards. Into the offensive zone, Martin down to the near side. Warner with a shot that was blocked. Back the other direction into the offensive zone. Here's Riola. Oh, goodness. Lawson, what a move. Lawson, what a save by Amundsen.
Yeah, that was Lance on the rush. Took off with speed up the ice. Terrific play there. Made a great move as he took it straight up the middle. Fed Lawson with a toe pull. Pulls himself to the slot and puts a shot in on goal that Amundsen shuts down as he goes down and covers the bottom half of the ice with his pads. Terrific play across the board by all 3 players.
1:14 to go. Empty net now again for Greenway. 5-on-5 with Trombley in the penalty box. Lawson on the near side. Lawson gets it back to Lance. Riola trying to set up the back door, and it was blocked. Streaking in on the far side was number 14 for St. Cloud was Stephen Ugrich as we're under a minute to go. Smith throwing this one toward the empty net, and that'll go wide. It'll bounce back off this empty net. Savoy trying to take it away. Loose out front, they score! A championship sealing goal for Nate Warner with 42.6 to play. 5-2 St. Cloud Cathedral.
Derek Brown just turned the head coach of the Crusaders to the double arm pump. He looked comfortable, like, okay, we can breathe easy now as they lead by 3 at 5-2. Off the end boards it goes. And there were just too many Crusaders around as they're to tap that one in. Fittingly for them as Mr. Goal scorer Nate Warner, as he picks up big points here in the championship game.
What a tournament for Nate Warner. What a run for St. Cloud Cathedral. 42.6 seconds away from their first championship and the first awarding of the Eveleth Trophy in Class A.
Scoring for St. Cloud Cathedral is 19th of the season, 4th of the tournament, number 8, Nate Warner.
As the Crusaders possess deep in their own zone as they push this one ahead. Then back into the Crusader zone. They'll look to play it behind their net. They'll bring it around to the near side. Vins, he gets harassed by a couple of Greenway players. Back out into the neutral zone they come. 17 seconds to go. There are now 10 seconds to go as it's back in the neutral zone. 8 seconds left. The Crusaders possess now behind their own net. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. And the first stop for the Eveleth Trophy is Central Minnesota. St. Cloud Cathedral has won the Class A champion. 5-2 the final score as St. Cloud Cathedral claims the Class A title.
Wow, how about that? Huddling around the Raider bench is the entire team. They just kind of went to the bench and they're staying there as a group right now, consoling each other. It's quite an image when you take a look at them. And they, right now they're talking about, look at this facility. They love you.
The first title in the history of the St. Cloud Cathedral hockey team, and they earned it. They really just dominated this tournament. Greenway played such a great game today, but St. Cloud Cathedral showed why so many people thought they would be the team to hoist the Eveleth Trophy this afternoon, and it will be theirs.
Well, they often refer to these hockey teams as a band of brothers. One band of brothers hugging in joy over on one side of the rink who won the state championship for the first time in St. Cloud Cathedral. The Crusaders capture their first ever title. Meanwhile, on the other side, it's the Raiders of Greenway that are huddled up around their fans on the sideboards. Coaches off the ice clapping toward their fans. They're taking this disappointment with about as much class as one could. And I think when you look at the enormity of what they were doing this year and who they've beaten along the way, when you take out a team like Hermantown, who's just like constantly taking it, they've been the Section 7A champion year after year after year, and then you bring in the likes of last game against Matamidi, the #1 ranked team in the state, and then you take a look, many felt as though this team right here, St. Cloud Cathedral, probably could have been, except you mentioned that earlier as well because of the head-to-head. And then Delano, who is playing really well too as well. An exhausted group, gave it everything they had, and they will never, ever forget this moment. That much we can tell you.
Another magical run for Greenway, kind of akin. We talked about the 2001 team, as we'll turn things down to Jim Carroll downstairs.
I guess he's not quite ready. I think he was suggesting they get things together, but we're going to pipe in for you as the Herb Brooks Award winner, and we're also going to have the all-tournament team mentioned, and then we will wrap it up. We won't take you through the award ceremony, but this has been some really good stuff indeed.
Absolutely it has. Just a wonderful week. St. Cloud Cathedral, such a well-earned, such a great, just so much fun to watch the way that they play, that they just...
Through much of the handshake line there, I mean, you can hear a pin drop in this building. Everybody's just looking on with respect. Both of these teams. It's really, this is what it's about right here.
Greenway.
Lots of hugs, handshakes. Looks like an NHL handshake line, you know, the ones that take a long time when there's words of great things said to each other. And, wow, this was really a great hockey game. And Cathedral was clearly the deserving champion. They played terrific here all weekend long, and their run to the section title was impressive, and they had themselves a big season. So Derek Brown, congratulations to him, as in his 4th season, 3 out of 4 state tournament appearances for this team, and they get it done here in 2019.
Attention to the video board.
And the game of hockey have become synonymous. After winning a state title with St. Paul Johnson in 1955, he would later play on 2 Olympic hockey teams and lead the University of Minnesota to 3 national titles. But his biggest moment came in 1980. When Brooks guided Team USA to a gold medal at Lake Placid. He would later coach in the NHL and again in the Olympics, winning a silver in 2002. Herb Brooks passed away in 2003, but his legacy lives on. The Herb Brooks Award is symbolic of the way Herb Brooks played and coached. The recipient of this honor is passionate about the game, is committed to school, team, and community, and is a person of character that is goal-oriented, as well as a skilled player and leader on and off the ice. As Herb Brooks once said, "It's the name on the front of the jersey that's more important than the one on the back."
Please welcome from the Herb Brooks Foundation, Dan Brooks, son of Herb Brooks.
Here to award the 2019 Class A Herb Brooks Award is the son of Herb Brooks, Mr. Dan Brooks. Thanks. Thank you. I'm pleased to announce that the 2019 Herb Brooks Award winner for Class Single A goes to Greenway's Dante Lawson. Dante, congratulations. I know your team fell one step short of your ultimate goal, but you have to be very proud of what you and your teammates have accomplished. What does this mean to you to win this award with Herb Brooks' name?
It's an honor. It's something I'll never forget, and I can't thank these guys over here enough and everybody up there for all their support and everything.
And I know your brother is very proud of you in this moment for you here at the Xcel Energy Center.
Yeah, absolutely. He supports me probably the most in my family, and I can't thank them enough either.
Congratulations to the Greenway Raiders on their runner-up and the Herb Brooks Award for Dante Lawson.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd like to present the 12-member Wells Fargo All-Tournament team, chosen by the media and members of the Minnesota High School Hockey Coaches Association. The awards will be presented by John Jensen from Wells Fargo, assisted by League Executive Director Eric Martins. These students have distinguished themselves during the state hockey tournament by their athletic excellence, leadership, team commitment, and exceptional sportsmanship. And now, the 2019 Class A Hockey All-Tournament team. From East Grand Forks and unable to attend, defenseman Trey Osmus. From Matamidi, forward Colin Hagstrom. From Matamidi, defenseman Noah Skillings. From Greenway, goalie Logan Wright. From Greenway, forward Ben Trombley. From Greenway, defenseman Cameron Lance. From Greenway, forward Dante Lawson. From St. Cloud Cathedral, defenseman John Bell. From St. Cloud Cathedral, forward Nate Warner. From St. Cloud Cathedral, forward Jack Smith. From St. Cloud Cathedral, forward Jackson Savoy. And from St. Cloud Cathedral, goalie Noah Amundsen. Wells Fargo and the Minnesota State High School League congratulate all members of the 2019 Class A Boys Hockey All-Tournament Team.
We welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. One last time, we'll wrap it up here quick against St. Cloud Cathedral. The Class A champions, they defeat Greenway 5-2. And Pete, what a ride for both of these teams to get to this point today.
Well, what a ride indeed. And it's, again, we talk about moments that you never forget that pause you in time. And this is definitely for these kids, even all the teams in this tournament. It comes to an end, the 2019 season. We end another decade of hockey, and we move on to the next, to the 2020s next year. And the 75th anniversary provided yet another terrific Class A state high school hockey tournament. Great call on the mic here. You called quite the tournament, total of 7 games, and you saw some dandies here. Game night 1, we saw some blowouts, but then we saw a good one here with Greenway to close it out, and yesterday was so memorable, and then, of course, today. So, Patrick, great work by you. Terrific work. You had the Edina Minnetonka game that I'll never forget, which was legendary as well, and your work is much appreciated. So, congratulations to you, and I'll just like to thank our sponsors one more time. Brew Pub Pizza, Lots of Matzah. Don't forget about Sportsman's Guide, Tradition Companies, RGM Construction, and Optimal Goalie. We will be back on the air tonight at 7 o'clock, where it'll be Edina and Eden Prairie in an all-lake conference final from the XL Energy Center.
Thank you, Pete. Thanks once again for having me on board. It was a fantastic tournament. So as Pete said, the Class A season is over, but hockey season has one more big milestone yet to go, and that'll be Eden Prairie against Edina, the Class AA. We'll be on the air at 7 o'clock with Pete and Bart. For Pete and Matt Harrington and John Sands, we will catch you from an arena near you very soon. Have a great time, everybody. Stay safe out today.